Uncle Clarence.
Adam Curry, John C. Dvorak.
It's Thursday, November 5th, 2020. This is your award-winning Cable Nation Media Assassination episode 1292.
This is No Agenda.
Counting quantum dots and broadcasting live from Opportunity Zone 33 here in the frontier of Austin, Texas, capital of the Drone Star State. In the morning, everybody. I'm Adam Curry.
And from northern Silicon Valley, where everybody's pleased as punch because Trump's out, I'm John C. Dvorak.
It's Crackpot and Buzzkill in the morning.
Oh, my goodness. Wow, it's a great time to be a podcaster.
It's the best. Podcasters rock.
Podcasting is the only place we can still do something honest.
Yeah.
Did you see what happened to our most recent animated No Agenda?
Yeah, it got kicked off the YouTube.
Yeah, but the reason why was interesting. And I'm saying this all for a reason, of course. But I just want to read... Hi, Animated No Agenda. Our team has reviewed your content, and unfortunately, we think it violates our community guidelines. We've removed the following content from YouTube. We know that this might be disappointing, but it's important to us that YouTube is a safe place for all. If content breaks our rules, we remove it. If you think we've made a mistake, you can appeal and we'll take another look. Keep rating for more details on how your content violated the policy, and here it is. YouTube does not allow, or actually they say doesn't allow, content that explicitly disputes the efficacy of local health authorities or World Health Organization guidance on social distancing and self-isolation that may lead people to act against the guidance. So this is in reference to us playing Anthony Fauci, literally telling us that anything above a 35 cycle count on PCR processing should be invalidated. And I guess
it was a clip of Fauci. It wasn't even a real animated No Agenda. It was a clip of Fauci.
Yeah.
The expert.
An animated clip of Fauci.
Animated clip. Yeah, he looked better.
Yeah. And so anyway, my point is you take that into account and you take into account what I saw and what we'll be discussing media wise election night and for the past 48 hours. Man, I think I started podcasting 2.0 right on time. The media has power. And when I say the media, I'm including the big technology companies in it. They got power,
this is
man.
News to you?
No, this is not news. I'm just saying. No, actually it isn't, because I started to decentralize podcasting again for this very reason. That's why it's a great time to be alive. It's nuts.
Actually, you're doing a public service because it was Zephyr. Hold on.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, hold on 1 second. We have a Zephyr.
4.
We have an incredible Zephyr report.
Yeah, there it goes. It's gone.
What do we have?
6.
Ladies and gentlemen, alert the Squawk Box on CNBC. We have a 6-car Zephyr, economy in dire straits, and Bitcoin 15,570.
Patrick Falsk.
Oh my God! Woo! Listen to that horn!
No coincidence, those numbers.
Look at the Bitcoin. Bitcoin went up like $1,500 during the past 48 hours. Very interesting to see that happen. So anyway.
Well, if it goes to a 5-car Zephyr, then the thing will be at 20,000. Anyway, onward.
So anyway, what an interesting evening. Now we're talking about Tuesday evening when, I was flipping through networks the whole time. And to this day, not one of the 3 cable news networks can agree on how many electoral votes belong to each candidate. And I took some pictures. 30 seconds from each other, I see MSNBC, Biden 205, Trump 209. At the same time on CNN, Biden 219, Trump 171. Over on Fox News, Biden 237, Trump 213. I think we all forgot that it's the media that picks the president, and they reminded us of this. Because when I saw Biden come out doing it's like some kind of statement, that's irregular. I can't recall any time that I can remember that there was some kind of speech that wasn't either a victory speech or a concession speech. Can you?
It's one of those things that it's probably happened. I don't know why it would happen. Generally speaking, the thing is resolved by that same night. Right. I don't remember anything dragging on like this, except maybe Nixon Kennedy, which I shouldn't comment on because I'm the older one here, and I remember a lot of stuff that people have never experienced. And this is deja vu.
Okay.
I mean, we had the same thing in the 60s with the Eldridge Cleaver, who I should mention became a Republican eventually. Black Panthers is very much of Black Lives Matter, very important culturally at the time. Everything we got to consider everything that we never considered before. We always considered. Then we had the Nixon Kennedy election that was stolen, and Kennedy became president. It was stolen by the corruption in the state of Illinois and John Daly's machine. And they brought in these extra votes for Kennedy, and he went over at the very end, out of the blue. I don't know where these votes came from, but Kennedy ends up winning, puts us in the Vietnam War. But people love him.
Yeah.
The CIA has to kill him, according to Ron Paul.
Well,
you may want to dig that clip up to put people back into the mood.
I wonder
so Lyndon Johnson takes over. Lyndon Johnson pulls some stunt that gets the black voters from 1964 to the present, with lots of documentation, to only vote for Democrats forever. And I think this election was similar to that. It hasn't ended.
No.
And the whole thing began with a corrupt politician running the state of Illinois. And I see the same thing going on now, but the kind of corrupt politician that John Daly was, was it John Daly? Mayor Daly is all I can remember.
Daly family, yeah.
And his son, that was high end stuff. I mean, they pretty much, owned the place. I mean, they were the Daly crime family, if you want to even call it that, because they were just, I don't know, government crime family, I guess, ran Chicago, and they ran the state of Illinois pretty much. This is not the kind of thing going on in Michigan. You have Whitmer.
Before we get into that part of it, I just want to focus on, I don't think people understand how this has worked historically and how the media really interfered with the election results on Tuesday night. So the way it typically goes is based upon polls and historical information, AP in particular, but all the news outlets have a system that will look at every single county in a state, and based on historical information and the polling, which is, the historical information is going to be right, but polling may not be correct from one election to the next. When they see an X amount of votes for one of the other candidates, they do a calculation, and then they call the state before all the votes are tabulated. And this happened very early with Virginia, and it was the craziest thing, because you saw Biden had 30% of what was counted. And that was a very low count at that moment. And President Trump had over 50. And it stayed that way consistently. But everyone's like, no, Virginia's lost. And this kept happening to blue states, clearly, and with red states such as Texas. Man, I mean, we were at 95%, and they kept it open and open and open. And so now we have the situation where Arizona has been recalled, i.e. the media is now saying, oh, well, I guess we can't call it for Arizona. But all these things combined put us into this state where everything stopped all of a sudden, and they would just call in states. Please. One of these calls that just got my attention. I think it was on NBC, because I spent most of my time there. I'm looking at these numbers. Vermont. Yeah. No votes. Went for Biden. No precincts. 0%. Check mark Biden. Yeah. So there was no chance that. And the poll thing, another thing about the poll, since you brought it up, is these guys were they were just
wrong and wrong and wrong. I mean, and the Democrats were pre-celebrating the fact that they were going to take the Senate again, and they didn't, and they won't. The one group that was right all along was the Trafalgar group. And the Trafalgar group guy was on the Ben Shapiro show, and I happened to catch him.
Okay.
Not that I listened to the Ben Shapiro show, but I was driving around picking up the mail.
Bull crap. Who sent it to you? Who sent it to you? Someone sent it to you.
Nobody sent it to me.
Okay.
So I'm listening to this guy, and he goes on and on about how they all screwed up, and he really condemned Fox, by the way, this guy that runs this. This is the website, if you were on Twitter during the whole thing, like a few days before the election, that got the website was basically hacked and bombed, and you couldn't get on it.
Right.
And nobody wanted the Trafalgar group's numbers out because they were showing it that the presidential race was neck and neck. And he accurately showed that the Republicans were going to hold the Senate, and they were probably going to gain seats in the House, which is exactly what happened. And he said that on the show, he discussed the reasons these other guys are all wrong, which nobody wants to talk about. And I didn't see anybody on any of the networks bring this guy on. They're still bringing Nate Silver on. Nate Silver is the guy who said Texas was going to go blue.
Yeah.
Well, his comment out, if you want to know what he thought the difference was and how they do their polling.
Yeah.
First of all, he says and everybody's commented on this, the Republicans aren't going to give up what they're going to do. They just don't talk to pollsters anymore. Mm-hmm. And he says the days of the phone poll where you call somebody on the phone, done. He says you're never going to get, the numbers are always bad nowadays.
Right.
People have gotten wise and they lie. He says that you have to literally you have to do what the FBI does. You go in, boots on the ground, hit a neighborhood, go to the neighbors and ask them what your next door neighbor's going to do.
Yeah, well, we're moving towards that kind of society anyway, so I guess that's good. But I saw, here's what tipped me off about, just getting back to Biden all of a sudden saying, hey, it's looking good, count every vote, which is an important little quote.
Meme.
Well, no, the next day, Brian the Gay Crusader, who's in Philly, sent me pictures of a van opening, and out came count every vote signs. The whole world is pre-made. The whole world is watching signs. Count every vote masks, which he said, and they were giving them out free. He said, and this is high quality. He said, this is really good stuff. Conversely, there's the stop counting the votes who also have pre-made signs, but they were clearly, those signs are like whipped up last night. The count every vote, which is brought to you by the, hold on, I have it here. Brought to you by the Socialist Alternative, which is, it's a nonprofit. They haven't filed taxes since 2017, but apparently they can print up some signs. And then on the pro-Trump side, the Stop the Count on Election Day, pathetic signs, and hats that say Election Protection Summit. So, this thing with Biden was clearly already set up. And the thing that bugged me the most, because he was in the parking lot with cars, go back and look at that. You will see. I mean, you like cars, right? You're interested.
I love cars. I'm a car guy.
Interested in cars. So go back and look at that little speech that Bo Jiden made and tell me why you only see 2020 Jeeps.
2020 what?
Jeeps. Every single automobile that you see in the shot is a 2020. It's a brand new Jeep. All the different models are there.
I have not. I would have noticed this if I had seen this.
Yeah. And so I saw that. I'm like, whoa, hold on a second. So that's staged. I mean, obviously, there's no enthusiasm for the guy. I just thought that was very funky that they apparently just got a GM dealership to empty out into the front row.
Yeah, the parking lot. Yeah.
And obviously, the Trump campaign was caught off guard because it took the president a good 45 minutes to get everything together and do a counter speech in which he said, hey, I knew they were going to do this. Hey, remember I told you, Newt, they were going to do this. And it's, and he says we're taking it to the Supreme Court. So the media is, they really did everything they could do. It was like this signal went out. Everybody call as much as you can. Joe does his speech, and then all of a sudden votes stop. and we have the weirdest graphs to look at with 100,000 plus votes all of a sudden popping up, 100% for Biden in Wisconsin and in Michigan, which is now being called a glitch. Gotta love that. A glitch. The Trump campaign just sent out a notice, and here's where it stands today, according to the Trump campaign, and that is on the 5th. So Arizona, I'm reading directly from their statement. Facebook and Twitter have rightly removed Arizona from Biden's electorate column on their official election map, and CNN never called it. I am looking at Fox News right now, and they still have Biden 264, Trump 214. So Fox News has the Biden, all the numbers, but the Biden numbers higher than CNN and MSNBC, which is noteworthy. Let's see what they say. Countless heavily Republican remain in play and will break in Trump's favor. Maricopa County overnight was a pickup of 50,000 votes for Trump. Biden lead is now 90,000 with 520,000 ballots remaining. We expect to win 70% of these ballots. I'm just reading what they're saying. We're now confident we will win Arizona by 30,000 votes. Georgia, President Trump has built an insurmountable lead of over 100,000 votes the Democrats cannot beat, period, it says. North Carolina, President Trump has built an insurmountable lead of over 76,000 votes that the Democrats cannot beat, period. Wisconsin, President Trump has formally petitioned for a state recount as the current results fall within the 1% legal margin of error. Several outlying counties are leaning heavily Republican, including Kenosha, Green Bay, Pierce, and Richland. And Michigan, President Trump believes we will win this state outright, as several outlying GOP counties have yet to be counted. So there, and of course we have Pennsylvania, which I guess now is going into, I think they'll be counting votes until January in Pennsylvania. And I'm not really joking.
Well, they can count votes all they want. There is a thing called the favored states or something law that's specific to the Electoral College, where all the numbers have to be in from all the states on December 8th.
Oh, December 8th? Okay. But then we could go into lawsuit land, and it could go in the 1800s. It went into January, I believe. 1870s.
Well, you go into January, they don't have to put the guy in office until until January.
So I don't find any of this really too unexpected. I personally feel a little guilty. I think I should have accentuated better how this works with the media calling states. But this was, on the media part, very, very blatant. I don't think anyone expects that they can push the election that way. But it just seemed like, oh, we're going to call all this stuff and make it complicated. No one had the same numbers. Joe comes out, talks to the dealership, the Jeep dealership, and then everything shuts down and it's a mess. That's what I saw.
What was the Jeep dealership rally? Was that the one with Stevie Wonder?
It was the same stage. Yeah, it was the same stage as you'd used earlier in the evening. And when
I just want to mention the Stevie Wonder concert, which was really, really.
I didn't see it.
High end.
I didn't see it. It wasn't high end. Poor Stevie.
It was not high end. But I want to play a couple clips from it. One is the announcement, and I just want to, because again, the media is giving everyone when Trump does a rally or anything, people are, nobody's wearing a mask.
No social distancing, no mask. Super spreader event.
Meanwhile, I want to play the announcement at the Stevie Wonder Biden concert, which was in Michigan.
Help us keep this event safe for everyone and stop the spread of COVID-19. Please stay in your vehicle at all times unless you need to use the restroom. If you do need to leave your vehicle to use the restroom, wear a mask, practice social distancing from others not in your group, and return straight to your vehicle as soon as you're able to. Thank you for your cooperation.
That means you too, Stevie.
So Stevie Wonder comes out.
So first of all, this is a farce,
any other rock concert you've ever seen or been to or had any piece of, what do you think happens when he goes up on stage? Everybody gets out of their car. Everybody. They flock to stage and they all stand around.
Oh, really?
Half of them not wearing masks. There's nobody in their cars. Because they want to see Stevie.
They want to see
He's
Stevie.
right there.
Yeah.
But by the way, there's only about 75 people we're talking about here, which for a Stevie Wonder concert is quite funny. And so he goes up, and they all stand around, and so then he sings through 4 songs, I think, at most. And then he, including something new.
Yeah.
And so then he says, hey, everybody, I can't see you, but I think you should all go back to your cars. You shouldn't be out of your
Did Stevie
cars.
Wonder say, I can't see you? He really said that?
Pretty much.
That's Stevie for you, man. He doesn't
Well,
care.
it's kind of a known fact that he can actually see. But everyone finally goes back to their cars. I thought that was ridiculous because, and I didn't see the media saying, oh, they're around there not wearing masks. And you're Amy Goodman, oh, they're not wearing masks. They're not wearing masks.
No.
I didn't hear any of that. But then I do have one quickie from the Stevie Wonder concert. This is Biden. And by the way, I have a new category of clips I'm going to call DSBS.
Okay.
Dumb shit Biden says.
Oh, okay.
And here he is complimenting Stevie Wonder, and I just thought this was the funniest thing I've heard for a while in terms of a compliment.
And Stevie Wonder is here. Stevie's been a powerful voice for justice for a long time, and he's generally a national treasure.
Generally? He meant
generally.
Generally. He meant genuinely. Wow.
He said generally.
Oh, poor Joe. Poor Joe. And there were clues, man, throughout the night that something was up. A lot of clues.
He's agitated, and we'll have to see.
And, it's interesting, even as we're speaking, Georgia, and go back to Georgia for a moment, the count has narrowed once again. Trump's lead has gone down. Take a look at this now. He's 33,300 votes ahead of Biden. And remind our viewers where it was 24 hours ago.
I mean, these are the moments that you live for when you're in Gitmo Nation. I mean, come on. That's just one of those things that you go, really?
You have better people sending you clips than me.
I know. Well, for many
nobody
reasons.
Catches.
For many
nobody
reasons.
catches that.
Okay. I don't think there were many other observations for me necessarily, other than, it's just, that went really quickly, that whole move. That was like, whoa, including with the early Virginia call, which was just totally confusing. And I think we always kind of knew that this would go to the courts. And already you're hearing, yes, if it goes to the Supreme Court, here's the rumor, Amy Coney Barrett will recuse herself. Have you heard this?
Well, this I've heard, but where does this come from?
Sir Jean?
Why would she recuse herself?
I don't know either. There's a number of people who think she was a bad choice, and this would be one of the reasons. I have no evidence of this. I don't know.
If she's going to recuse herself, then Gorsuch should recuse himself, and so should Kavanaugh.
Why would any of them
picked by Trump?
Oh, I see. Yeah, that makes no sense. None of that makes sense. None of that makes any sense.
Well, a couple of things that, this brings up a couple of issues. One is the vote by mail thing we predicted it was going to be a fiasco to begin with, mainly because these states aren't equipped to do that much mail vote counting.
Mm-hmm.
They're just not. It's not the same. And already, of course, I see even Scott Adams jumped on this one with a ludicrous kind of I think, a suggestion. But I know where this is going. This is going to be the following scenario. Oh, the problem with the vote by mail is that it took forever to cast the votes, and now we can't, because they had a bunch of people in Germany. I have some German clips. I tried to get foreign clips about this whole event. And because the American news media didn't have anything to talk about except nothing.
Well, they did. No, that's not true. I have a couple of short clips of the.
Okay, well, good. I'd be very interested to hear them.
Yeah.
But here, let me finish my scenario. Here's what's going to happen. It goes from, it took forever because the Germans went to Delaware and they asked people, it's taking forever. We should know the results, the first night. We don't need, what are we waiting for? It's going to go to internet voting. It jumps right to internet voting from here. You don't have any of these problems because the vote comes in and the machine tabulates them and boom, you got your answer.
I agree with you. I agree with you that it will go to some form of blockchain, some type of open ledger that can be
blockchain.
I mean, it would. I mean, that makes a lot of sense. Just for the simple reason that Bitcoin has proven that you can represent something on the internet and another person can take that as true and valid without anyone in the middle, which does away with the whole problem.
There's nobody in the middle. What about the guy who comes over to your house, holds a gun to your head, takes you to the computer and tells you to vote for Biden?
He's not in the middle. He's on one side.
Exactly. Or the big vote parties. Let's have a vote party. Let's bring everybody. This is, by the way, this is Democrat policies. This is an old Democrat trick. This is what they used to do in the South. Mm-hmm. They used to round up, the blacks, and they'd bring them in and have them vote. And then they'd take their votes, and if they didn't like what they saw, they'd throw them out or not, and then they'd put them into the hopper, and they'd win the election all the time. This is Democrat-style corruption. In fact, I mean, it's so Democrat-style corruption, it's not even funny. And internet voting will be 10 times worse. No wonder all the tech companies are on it, because they're the ones that are going to have to be manipulating the vote.
Oh, yeah. Well, of course, we know how they do that. Dr. Epstein already testified in Congress. I mean, that's actually quite simple the way they do that.
Well, we know how they do it. They took down our animated no agenda.
Yeah, there you go, bastards. Just back to the Supreme Court for a moment, just to give you a little bit of the vibe amongst, I would say, the Democratic Party operatives who are in the media. Joy Reid is a fine example of that. Not ADOS, by the way, but okay.
So we'll see.
Well, and the Supreme Court. And he mentioned the Supreme Court and was very specific about that. And he did telegraph
as if he can just take the election, call it over,
right,
and announce that there won't be any more voting and that the Supreme Court will take over. That's not how it works.
It's not exactly clear that we can trust Amy Coney Barrett and Kavanaugh and these others not to be just like Bill Barr. And so I think what scares people is that if he decides to do something that it legally makes no sense, and you're right, but Mr. Bauer is ready for him. But if somehow they manage to stumble into the Supreme Court, do any of you guys trust Uncle Clarence and Amy Coney Barrett and those guys to
Uncle Clarence?
She said Uncle Clarence.
Yes, she did.
What a racist pig she is.
Isn't that unbelievable? Mo sent that to me this morning. He says, the lynching continues. Unreal. I mean, I know you don't like Uncle Clarence, but man, that's calling someone an Uncle Tom. I mean, that's almost as good as the C word in this context. But there were all kinds of flubs and mistakes and people saying weird things. This is Lester Holt, who, I mean, the truth almost came out on this one.
Yeah, I think the thing that was confusing listening him to do that is it presupposes that he's going to lose. And that's certainly not the fact is each man right now has a chance of becoming president. So
he was going to say it wasn't possible, but okay. Sure. Now this was the way the polling in general and the way a lot of these things were set up. Georgia has quite a fun state. There's a lot of influence in Georgia as well. This is an interview with someone overseeing the Fulton County polling station. Listen to this.
Georgia's one of the last few states that hasn't been called. So it's our responsibility to get these things counted tonight if we can, to at least help the process along so that people have peace of mind that all the votes are counted in Georgia and that we can move on to the provisional ballots that will be counted on Friday.
We know a lot of these individuals, they are volunteers. All of them are volunteers. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, there's a few of our staff here, but yeah, a lot of them are contract staff that and there are others that we hired as late as this evening.
As late as this evening?
Yeah.
What, so were they trained to be able to handle this kind of pressure?
Yeah, we swore them an oath when they sat down and then ran them through a simple training.
Oh, brother.
Yeah, we swore them an oath and we took them through a webinar, baby. A podinar. Yeah, they're all trained up, good to go. I'll take you into your foreign clips because I also like looking at how the rest of the world views what's going on. And, Sky Australia, obviously a Murdoch property and very conservative, pro-Trump, I would say even. But they figured it out. They know exactly. It's the same thing we're talking about here.
The political media class, the political establishment have been repudiated and exposed yet again. They're the ones who have been telling us all along that this would be a landslide for Joe Biden. They're the ones who have been telling us all along that Donald Trump appeals only to racist, sexist, misogynists and all the rest of it and white supremacists. They're the ones who've told us all along that this was going to be the great resetting in the American political landscape, and that has just not happened. Now, there's a lot of media commentators involved in this, a lot of politicians, a lot of political activists. They've all been completely wrong. Don't forget the pollsters either. They've misjudged the politics of America and they have misjudged their nation. So they stand exposed today and the mainstream have had their say. Now, if you think I'm exaggerating this and I'm wrong in taking this interpretation out of the election result, well, have a look at this. I'm going to show you one of the woke left commentators on CNN, which is full of liberal left commentators. Van Jones used to work for the Obama administration, and he was honest enough last night to realise that the win the Democrats look like getting isn't really much of a win at all.
I think a lot of Democrats are hurt tonight. I think there's a lot of hurt out there. There's a moral victory and there's a political victory. They're not the same thing. They wanted a moral victory tonight. We wanted to see a repudiation of this direction for the country. And the fact that it's this close, I think, it hurts.
Oh, won't somebody please think of the children?
Poor Van Jones. Yeah, so it's obvious how we landed in this particular spot because it's all fake. It's all phony. From the phony ass car dealership cars to Joe coming out like, oh, this is all it was all good to go. It was truly the media, and I'm just including big technology companies with that. They see it as their job to make sure Trump, doesn't matter who is going to be elected, it's their job to make sure Trump doesn't get elected. And I think they pulled out as many stops as they could.
I think they maxed it out.
Yeah.
I don't think they could pull out any more stops than they did. They had everybody from the intelligence agencies, all of the media, New York Times, Washington Post, all the networks. Everybody. They pulled out all the stuff, and then they had to go, and then they couldn't win, and they still had to go with the old Democrat corrupt practices. And I'm imagining some old Democrat smoking a cigar saying, I told you guys you should have done this all along. You're wasting your time.
So I have this, I have a screenshot from a local station in Pennsylvania. So they have the Lancaster. I've been to Lancaster, actually, one of those bad top 40 radio stations. And so here's the numbers they show on the screen. Mail-in ballots requests, 108,000. Mail-in ballots returned, 89,000. But then the mail-in ballots that have been counted are 142,000. So if you,
that's a guy in a Chiron that says these kids can't even give you change anymore at the grocery store. That's the reason for that.
So they've counted more mail-in ballots than were actually requested or that were returned.
Yeah.
So, and you think that's a Chiron error?
Well, yes. And I'll tell you why I think that. Is because these guys are not going to let something like that go on the screen if they're trying to scam us.
I personally think they're too dense. I mean, I don't think.
Well, they're okay. You could use my own argument against me.
Yeah. The argument
they
is
put these numbers up because those are the numbers, and they can't figure out that one's bigger than the other.
Yes, exactly. Just
That's
like
how
you
dumb
said
they are
about the change. Exactly. They can't even give you change at the grocery store. All right, so here it comes. Now, this was circulating around the conspiracy circles early this morning, around 5 a.m. my time, and I was like, oh, I'm definitely going to make mention of this, but not, just as like, okay, maybe. But then I got an email from military intelligence, and I can't mention who, but after the show, I'll tell you, John, and you know this person, and you'll think this person is credible. And here is how the story goes. Trump told us at 02:35 they would dump ballots at 0400. And what happened in Washington, in Wisconsin and Michigan, at 0400, all of a sudden the magic ballot showed up. And that is when if you look, you might have seen the graphs. If not, I'll put it in the show notes, where you see the red line, the blue line. Blue line is Biden, red line Trump, clearly under the red line. And then all of a sudden you get a spike up, like a line straight up, and then Biden's above Trump. And that's around 4 a.m. And this has been brushed away as a computer glitch, a typo, all kinds. I mean, and it's enough out there for it to be confusing to people. So this will have to be answered. But the source goes on. Interestingly, the recounts will identify the fake ballots as all official ballots included a watermark. The Department of Homeland Security, and this checks out. I did look this up. Ballots that are printed, regardless of state, are not just printed by someone going down to the local copy shop. It's not doing it at FedEx or whatever. It happens at official printing facilities. A number of them actually just got new gear from Germany, new printing gear, printers that would be, and just like every printer has some kind of hidden little code, which we've discussed many times on the show. So if you try to print something feloniously, it can be tracked back to that printer. Whether the printer can be tracked to you is secondary. And this apparently has some kind of isotype that you can activate, and you can look at it either under a loop or with a certain type of light or scanner. So if there were, and I'm not saying this is how it went down, but if there are ballots that have been printed outside of the official facility, these will be able to be detected. So the story goes. And that goes for Arizona, Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Georgia, and North Carolina. Even Michigan possibly shows that Trump will win that based upon this. And it was a fantastical story until this guy.
Sounds right.
Until this guy said it, I'm like, oh, okay.
This is what the Chinese do. This is a Chinese trick. Everyone's got these tricks are all definable. This is the Chinese trick. You're making a bunch of watches at the big watch factory.
Yeah.
Quitting times midnight. Let's make another 1,000 watches and we'll put them on the black market. The same factory.
Right.
So the same printer that's making the official ballots can just easily knock off another 20,000, 50,000. Just make another 100,000. Here's some money. I don't see that even being. What you got to do is you got to line these,
I'm saying
ballots
it
up with the signatures.
Hold on, I'm saying something different. I'm saying that the excess ballots did not come from the official printer. The excess ballots were printed outside of the system and therefore should already be null and void. That, I think, is possible. I thought
you prefaced the whole thing by saying they'll discover that the extra ballots, the big spike of ballots, are all official.
No. They'll be able to separate the official ballots from the bogus ballots by the watermark.
If they did it because of the water, well, then they're idiots.
Yeah, the same people who put those numbers on the screen. Hello? Same people who call this spike a glitch because wow, have we had training to believe that, a glitch is okay? I would say so.
How many years of glitch do we need?
Quite a few years of glitch we've lived through. So yeah, it's...
if that's the case, then that'd be a scandal. They can't let that happen.
Well, we'll see. I mean, so the Wall Street Journal actually did a piece on these companies that print, and these are only a few companies, and the Department of Homeland Security, for obvious reasons, oversees this process. So now
the other thing was, I mean, the reason they wanted to stop the ballot counting, stop the ballot counting, is because the Michiganders. Shut the doors, closed the window. They didn't let anybody monitor their ballot counting.
Yeah, I actually have a clip. Let me see. Yes, I have it here.
Now, this is a live look at the ballot count happening right now at the Philadelphia Convention Center.
It's Philadelphia.
The Trump camp claims that they have video, apparently from Pennsylvania, that shows Republican ballot observers being kept some 30 feet away. They say that their observers can't really see anything. They're having to use binoculars. They have no way of seeing if the ballots have proper signatures or if they're postmarked correctly. They've even made some allegations about intimidation tactics possibly being used against their observers. Here's the president's son, Eric Trump.
No, you don't have to listen to him. So there's a lot of funny things going on. Not letting anyone look at the ballots.
You're supposed to leave the observers there to.
We got a note from one of our producers in Todd in Philadelphia. At 8:30 the night before the election, the Pennsylvania Secretary of the Commonwealth quietly issued guidance to the polling officials to release the identities of voters whose mail-in ballots were rejected according to the voting requirements established by the General Assembly. The Democrats had clearly been planning this and trained hundreds of people for it. They obtained that information, ran outside to communicate it to the party, who then went and called all of these voters on the list, only Democrats, apparently, to get them to come submit a provisional ballot, which would, fix whatever they had done wrong, which is in general, okay, great. If you can catch people and say, hey, you did it wrong, come back and do it right. But if you only do it for one party or for one candidate, that's not equal provision under the law. So this is another thing that may come out.
It can all come out. It probably all will come out, and it is scandalous. And when somebody pointed out on Twitter, I heard Biden talking about this. I have a clip of it even. Mm-hmm. But when somebody just kind of pointed out on Twitter that Joe Biden, creepy Joe, decrepit, old Joe, never was popular, has never got anywhere trying to run for president, plagiarist, suddenly wins the most popular votes in the history of the United States. Something is fishy.
It's great. It's a great time to be podcasting, baby. That's what I'm telling you. This is super duper. Hey, thank
you for inventing this fine.
Yes, you're more than welcome.
For communication, Mr. Curry.
Check this out.
It's the only thanks you'll get.
Check this out. So they are so confident, the Bidens, that they are going to win, that they have already moved ahead with their plan. And what if we said consistently, if Joe Biden wins, then this country will be building back better? Because that is the globalist mantra. It's what every single politician is talking about, from the UK to France to Italy to Japan to New Zealand. Everybody's talking about the Netherlands. Everyone's going to build back better. They launched their transition website, buildbackbetter.com.
Yeah.
I mean, that is shoving it in our face. So it's so.
Why not?
Well, yeah, just.
Why not?
I want everyone to be aware of what's coming. Here it is. It's in full view in English and Espanol. And
I have
even Barack Obama on election eve, he tweeted, for 8 years, Joe was the last one in the room whenever I faced a big decision because he couldn't find the exit.
Sure, why? Because he couldn't find the bathroom?
He made me a better president. And today, we have the chance to elect Joe and Kamala to build our country back better. Yeah, baby. It's a-coming. It's a-coming, everybody. Woohoo!
I have some historical clips I'd like to play before I get to my foreign clips.
All right.
First of all, I have, this is from 2015. This is the clip with NBC, everyone's NBC.
Yes.
Goading Biden into running in 2015.
Lester.
All right, Kristen, thank you. Let's bring in our political director, the moderator of Meet the Press, Chuck Todd. Chuck, let's start with brand new poll numbers you're releasing tonight about the state of the race and the potential candidacy of Joe Biden.
Well, it really sort of highlights the weakness right now of Hillary Clinton. Our poll shows that Joe Biden and Bernie Sanders both poll better against Donald Trump, the current Republican frontrunner in a general election, than Hillary Clinton. Look at this. Biden's up by 21 points, Sanders by 16 points, Clinton only up by 10. It's a sign of how much trouble she's having with swing voters, Lester. By the way, the most popular candidate running for president right now is not running. It's Joe Biden.
The setup begins.
If anything happens, I really hope people just at their core reject the media in totality. I mean, it's already taking place to a huge degree, but this has got to be the next shot.
The problem.
Yeah, it is.
It's not even the government anymore.
Well, is there
During
a difference?
the Reagan era, it was the government. Now it's the media.
Yeah.
They're terrible people. I don't know how they live with themselves. I think they're deluded. So they can live with themselves because they're completely convinced that everything they're doing is
absolutely
just and right.
But these people are not evil. They're just brainwashed and all in. I mean, I get it. I see how that can happen. It
happens to everybody.
It's what it is.
I'm living in an area where everybody's like that.
Yeah.
So let's go to 2015. Here's a little commentary about Air Force. This is interesting because it brings up an issue when you listen. This is the Air Force 2 clip.
Some supporters argue that Biden is better off waiting since once he declares for president, he has to pay for Air Force 2. And with the crew, a whopping $43,000 an hour on political trips, a huge burden for a fledgling campaign.
So that was in 2015.
Yeah.
Now, does Trump pay? What's the deal? Because he flies Air Force One. And of course, the media doesn't cover this, but
well, now hold on. Let's just determine a few things. You're in my territory because I know what it costs. Air Force One is whatever aircraft the president is on. Air Force One is not always the
F-35 is flying over. I'm telling you, something's flying over. It's making a bracket.
Yeah, I can tell. Duck and cover.
It's gone.
Okay. Air Force One is whatever aircraft the president is occupying. So it's not always the 747. He has a 757.
I was just saying that he uses the 747 or one of them a lot, and he flies into these big meetups, and it's just spectacular.
Yes, $240,000 an hour to operate.
Is he paying it?
No. The campaign has to pay for it.
Okay, but the campaign is paying for it. It's not government. Taxpayers aren't paying to fly that big jet.
The campaign pays for it. They have to. That's why he takes the 757 from time to time. It's cheaper.
Yeah,
I mean, you can fly the 757 from D.C. to Pennsylvania, but it's like, dude, why don't you just hop on the 57 and it'll be a lot cheaper and actually it's less hassle.
All right, now here's the last clip I have. This is, for some reason, it's actually from 2017, but it says 2917, so look for that. I just wanted to play this clip because I was pulling these old clips down to try to have some comparison. This is November of 2017, and Joe is losing it a little bit, but compare this to what he sounds like today in general. And you can see that his deterioration, I'm just saying, his deterioration is really going along at a breakneck clip.
President. So the 2016 election was for many Democrats a shocking wake-up call. What changes do you think the Democratic Party needs to make in order to be successful in 2018 and 2020?
Well, I want to point out, but for 172,000 votes, we wouldn't be having this conversation. And Hillary got 3 million more votes. I'm not saying he didn't win. He won fair and square by the Electoral College. It makes sense. But there was no landslide here, number one. Number two, I'm referred to in in Washington the last 25 years as middle-class Joe. It's not meant as a compliment. It means I'm not sophisticated. But I think there's real reason why a lot of middle-class people are legitimately concerned with digitalization, artificial intelligence, whether there are going to be jobs in the future. I spoke at the World Economic Forum. I was asked to speak about the fourth industrial revolution and will there be middle-class jobs. And so, for example, I was talking to one of the staff guys here today, cameraman, about truck drivers. And a guy who was a cameraman always wanted to be a truck driver. He's driving an 18-wheeler now. And I said, well, a lot of those guys are wondering whether they're going to have a job in 2, 5, 10, 12 years. Are they going to be able to make a living? So people are out there worried, and we don't talk enough to them. My dad used to have an expression. He said, I don't expect the federal government or the government to solve my problems. I expect them to understand it. And I think there are answers. In this last election, what happened was, because it was such a mosh pit in terms of Hillary's inability to be able to, not her, she tried, but to get the message out about the middle class, about what she was going to do about education, what she was going to do about child care, what she was going to do about these things. And the middle class is, I think we have to respond. And
yeah, different Joe.
It goes on and on.
Different Joe. Yeah,
it's a different Joe.
Let me just talk about race for 1 second, because this was a part of this campaign, of this election. Really, there's a lot of it about race, specifically racism. And Maxine Waters spoke just before election night.
I mean, who totally kicked ass in her election, by the way.
Oh yeah, and you want to talk about disappointing? Texas, is it Houston? I think reelected Sheila Jackson Lee. This has got to be the worst person in Congress. She's horrible. And Maxine Waters, well, of course, she's on the finance committee, so she chairs the finance committee, and here she is on this despicable idea of black Trump voters.
I mean, I don't even know where any blacks would be coming from that would be voting for Trump. It just hurts me so bad to see blacks talking about supporting Trump. I don't know why they would be doing it. I don't know what's on their minds. But if we don't turn out this vote and turn it out huge, this man could end up winning again. And this country would go backwards. The divisiveness that this deplorable human being has caused, the confrontations, the dog whistling to the right wing, the white supremacists, the KKK, and they're coming alive. They're emboldened because they've got a leader who wants them to do it. What did he say to the Proud Boys? Stand back and stand ready. Ready for what? Confrontation.
Man, ready.
This is all this stuff that she thinks was said. Yeah, of course. He didn't say any of that. Stand back, stand ready, Proud Boys. Get ready to kill some people. CNN, this is a nice little headline they had here. Analysis. Millions of white voters are once again showing who they are. Yeah, baby. That's right.
What does that mean?
No, that means that all the racist whiteys were voting for Trump. Can you turn your speakers down just a little bit? I moved
the mic.
Oh, that's it. They're the racist white voters, man. They're all racist. They're voting for Trump. It's inconscionable. How can that even be? It's nuts. We shouldn't do that at all. Joy Reid. She said, this close presidential race shows great amount of racism and anti-blackness in the U.S. after she just got done calling Clarence Thomas Uncle Clarence. It's like, oh, man. These people will accuse anybody of anything.
All right, well, let's listen to the Deutsche Welle, a Chinese outlet in Germany.
Okay. A fine Chinese outlet in Deutschland. Yes. What do you have?
Yeah, Deutschland's a Chinese spokeshole.
Yeah.
So they had this guy going and doing an analysis of the election. They had somebody at the White House who they had mismiked, and I couldn't clip that. And a black woman who's either, I think she's German, but she may be an ex-American. She speaks perfect English, the kind that you'd want on a broadcasting outlet doing an English version of Deutsche Welle.
Oh, good. Can I do her voice?
Yeah, do it.
No, we have to wait. I want to hear her.
Oh, no. She's got no accent whatsoever.
Oh, okay.
Sounds like an American. Could be.
Yeah.
Could be an expat. I don't know. It doesn't say. She doesn't say, but she does have the same old spiel. But it's funny because she's self-contradictory in a funny kind of a way. She doesn't even know this. I've I have 4 clips.
Nice.
The second and third one I may reverse to make more impact, but let's play clip 1.
He's launched legal challenges aimed to stop vote counting in several tight races, a call echoed by his supporters. In Arizona,
Wait a minute, that's a whipsaw.
You got it. It is a total whipsaw.
It's a whipsaw. It's like let's just listen to that again, ladies and gentlemen.
He's launched legal challenges aimed to stop vote counting in several tight races, a call echoed by his supporters.
I'd be like, here's the report. Well, obviously, the crowds were out in droves for their white leader. They were obviously neo-Nazis and fascists. It's the same report.
Yeah, same report. You could do a lot with that. I should maybe subclip the "We Want Trump" thing.
Yeah.
I've never heard it anyplace else, by the way. The networks didn't play it.
I've heard fire Fauci, but I haven't heard "We Want Trump." Let me finish the clip because there's more to it, obviously.
In Arizona, a crowd of Trump fans gathered to protest the ongoing vote count there. That race is neck and neck, though several news outlets have reported Joe Biden has flipped this battleground state. Trump has made unfounded allegations of voter fraud and on Wednesday accused Democrats of trying to steal the election.
Okay. Unfounded.
Did you catch the other little flub?
No, I guess I missed it. What was it?
Yeah, well, it's the way he words this. He says Trump has made unfounded allegations.
Yes. Yeah.
How do you make an unfounded allegation?
Well, that's like saying Trump, without evidence, said this is what they learn in J school now. That's how you say it. You say the president, without evidence, stated that, claimed that, attacked. Yeah.
Now,
that's how you do it.
So he cuts it. He goes to the black woman to have her give some discussion on some of this, and I have to. I'm going to reverse the chronology is off. This is what she says. This is clip. We're going to play clip 3 before we play clip 2.
Did pretty well in this election. What explains for that?
Well, I mean, this is a reflection.
Oh wait, stop. Back. I get it. Let me set it up. He's commenting on the fact that Trump did as well as he did. In other words, as a dead heat.
Right.
And she's asked as the expert because she's black. She's the black woman, and so she's an expert on American politics because she's black, and she's going to tell us why this happened.
Did pretty well in this election. What explains for that?
Well, I mean, this is a reflection of where we are as the country, at least the United States. It's very divided. And there is at least 50% of the people who agree with his sentiments, whether we find them racist or misogynistic. They like him because he reflects their worldview.
Yeah.
So,
that makes sense.
What we've learned from her,
yes,
and she is an American, from this fine black woman, we've learned from her that half the country's racist and misogynistic, and we're reflecting Trump's racism and misogyny, and that's why the half that would be Trump supporters.
That's the half that will get the yellow star and will be asked to take a shower. That's exactly what's happening.
So I found that to be offensive. Just offensive. But if you listen to her previous commentary, it really makes you scratch your head as maybe she does understand what's going on, but she doesn't even get it herself, that it's like fishy, and she maybe herself should be a Republican because apparently she lives in a Republican district somewhere in the United States.
Stacey, let's talk about that evidence. The United States has very little history of voter fraud.
That's right.
But there's a long history of voting problems of other kinds. And why can't the United States just have a reliable vote count and across the 50 states get that count in consistently across the board so we can just get a result and get on with things?
Well, the problem is there's no national nonpartisan organization that oversees the count. every county is run by elected legislators, whether they're Democrat or Republican. And some counties are very well. I did my vote by mail and everything went smoothly. And when I vote in person, it's smooth. But it's a smaller county and it's Republican. In larger areas where it's predominantly Democrat, there have been issues with voting drop boxes being taken away or polling places being consolidated or shut down. And this is a form of voter suppression. The United States definitely has the infrastructure to have a more streamlined process.
So in where the Democrats run it, it sucks. Okay, I get it.
And for her, it's voters. The Democrats are practicing voter suppression.
You're misunderstanding it. They're secret at night. Republicans sneak in and do all this to the Democratic counties. That's how it works.
Well, it's not what she said.
No, of course not. But that's how stupid it is.
She said that the Democrats lose boxes and they lose ballots and they have voter suppression. But it's fine with her because she's in a Republican area that's well run.
And there's no lines.
and there's no lines. And meanwhile, she's going on about the people that vote Republican are a bunch of racist pigs.
Oh, boy.
What is wrong with this person?
Does she work for Deutsche Welle? Is this a gig that anyone can get?
Yeah, no, she's one of the Deutsche Welle girls.
Wow.
So let's go to clip 4. Now, this is a clip that the DW gals. So this is one of the clips that I heard this clip all over any European outlet. You're going to get this clip, and you're going to get it in some United States, some of the news in the U.S. I would say MSNBC be along these lines, but I just want to play this one. This is the clip 4 from DW.
Well, once again, we see a candidate who clearly is more than 3 million votes in the lead, not being handed victory. So I think that raises a lot of structural issues. Both camps have resisted actual electoral reform in the United States. This doesn't necessarily mean streamlining. Being very regional can also be an advantage. But clearly, the much bigger issue is when we talk about these divisions, we're not just talking about different perspectives on an actual subject matter. We're talking about very different realities that both sides are continuing to live in, and more so.
She mentions the term in their electoral reform. And what she's talking about, and they're all beating around the bush about, but this is what they're all talking about: dissolving the Electoral College and letting the popular vote win.
Yes.
And Biden himself was bragging about him, he's ahead by 3 million votes. He won California alone, just California. I say this and I harp on it. Nobody cares. California provided Biden 4 million votes over Trump.
Mm-hmm.
So if he is leading by 3 million votes in the popular vote USA, that means without California, he'd be losing. The popular vote is just California. California does not, it's rigged in California. It's going to go big for any Democrat. And so this is a bull crap argument as far as I'm concerned.
On election day itself, the Washington Post had a big op-ed. And I just give you the headline. No matter who wins, it's time to get rid of the Electoral College. Yeah, this is part of the beauty of our system, the beauty of the country, the fact that we have all these different states and people are different in every state, and everyone gets a fair shake with their same amount of senators. And it's really important that we have an electoral college. Otherwise, all these other states would leave. They'd have no say in the matter. It would
they'd be trampled.
California, New York, and Michigan, or Illinois, and Texas. I mean no one else would matter. No one else would matter.
Well, when you got let's look at the real voting block. It's New York, New Jersey, Massachusetts, California, Washington, Oregon. That's it. Those states will be running the country.
Yeah.
If the Electoral College goes. So you don't now.
What is behind this, though? What is behind this? Because obviously,
Well, I have my own theory about what's really behind it.
Okay, so let me just...
And I've written it up, and it's been in the newsletter, and I've got it. I posted this 15 years ago.
And I want you to... because you have the best explanation, especially when it comes to the media calling for this. But I believe that children who have gone through school and have had civics lessons, they have been taught that this is not democratic. They've been told that we live in a democracy, which we don't. We live in a republic. And they've been taught that it's unfair. And they're really being taught something quite evil when it comes to mob rule, which is exactly what this will result in. Obviously, the true reason for this is your theory. It is. I'm all in.
Boy, geez, I'm like, I don't know what to say. Thank you very much for your introduction. Every word is true.
Yes.
Now,
you've always been a fan of mine. You can say all that. That's fine.
The media is behind this because the media gets no money. We're talking about the big bucks. They've gotten to the point where they're doing $1 billion per candidate per year or per election.
Yeah.
California media, the Los Angeles Times, the San Francisco Chronicle, the local news, the local TV stations, the KTLA, none of them get any of the Trump or Biden money because California's not in play.
Because you can't.
California loses tens of millions of dollars.
More. John, Bloomberg spent $75 million on a Senate race in Georgia alone. And where does that money go? Well, we know where it goes, into advertising. This is much bigger than tens of millions.
Hundreds of millions of dollars California is losing. Its media properties are losing this money. It's hurting the bottom line because all the money is being spent in places like Pennsylvania and Ohio and places that are swing states.
Yeah.
And the reason for that is because of the Electoral College. The swing state is really more important than the Electoral College. It's not important in the popular vote. If the popular vote became the thing, California would rake it in because we've got the numbers here.
Yeah.
And that's what it's all about. They don't care about the republic or the future of the country or anything. And you can tell that if you don't watch the media, you can't tell. But if you watch the media, you can tell. They don't care about you or anything else. They care about the bottom line. And the bottom line is being hurt by the Electoral College. I wrote this about 15 years ago or more.
Yeah, we bring it up.
20.
We bring it up every cycle.
I bring it up as much as I can because every time when I first posted it and every time I continue to post the same article, I, change a few words here and there. It's, oh, yeah, bull. Everyone says, no. I get the whiniest people that complain about this theory, but it's the only theory that makes any sense.
Well,
by the way, it's the same theory that in a kind of a converse way. It's a similar theory to the reason that election, what is it called? Election reform, where you can't. Oh no, we got to limit the amount of money people can donate.
Campaign finance reform.
Campaign finance reform. Thank you. Campaign finance reform. The media will never let that happen. Because where does all that money end up going? Where does campaign finance reform money end up not going? In this case, the media gets screwed.
Yeah. Yeah.
We had a clip. I think you even had. I'm not sure. One of us had it. It was about with Les Moonves going on and on about how great the quarter was because all the money CBS made during one of the elections. It was in 2016, I think.
Yeah.
So I don't know about Trump, he says, but the election is good for our bottom line.
Here we go. We have the clip. This is from the archive.
Is it too early to know whether or not we'll see a new high water mark for political advertising revenue?
I'd be surprised if we don't see a new high water mark. This is a pretty interesting year. I'm going to be careful what I said because I got in trouble last week for saying something that got misconstrued about Mr. Trump. All I said is he's very good for ratings. Put it that way. Our ratings are way up in the debates, and that means extra money in political advertising. If you notice, there's a whole new batch of advertising being spent right now. The political situation is very strong. I think it will remain so the rest of the year. It obviously helps our local stations a lot. We have a lot of stations in key markets, and so we're looking forward to this year is to be a year that delivers a lot of political advertising. What becomes interesting, and depending on who the candidates are, there may be some Republican candidates that local senators and governors are going to have to spend more money because, let's put it this way, they may not be absolutely in sync with the national ticket. So there may be more money spent that way, going that way. So put it this way, we're anticipating a record-breaking year. Everything we've seen, everything we've heard, our analysts tell us it's going to be a very good year.
Woo! Bonanza time, baby. And that was 2015.
And if anyone thinks campaign finance reform's ever going anywhere,
yeah,
they're in for a shock.
Can I make a recommendation? I suggest you write that up one more time and put it on your Substack. I'm so happy you're a Substacker now.
Yeah, I'm experimenting there.
Yeah.
Yes, I will do that. I have another one coming up next Tuesday, and then another one. I've already got another one scheduled for. You can schedule them out, and I just.
Yeah. This is the fundamental difference between you and I. You're a Substacker, and I'm a Statsacker. That's all.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sat stacker. Satoshis,
Okay.
baby. Stacking sats. You're substacking.
Now, I have one more clip from DW here, which is the Biden announcement where this is where Biden comes in and he yaks and yaks. This is what you were talking about earlier, that you've never heard anything like this ever before. And I can't find the Trump clip of him going, oh, they got to stop everything. I win.
It's not quite what he said. Not quite what he said.
No, that's what the media said.
Yeah, well, of course.
I don't know what he said because they won't play the clip. They just say what they think he said, which is typical. But let's play this Biden announcement. It's a little long, I don't know what he's saying.
To it, let's have a quick listen to what he said about the race as it currently stands.
And now, after a long night of counting, it's clear that we're winning enough states to reach 270 electoral votes needed to win the presidency. I'm not here to declare that we've won, but I am here to report that when the count is finished, we believe we will be the winners. With all the votes counted, we have won Wisconsin by 20,000 votes, virtually the same margin that President Trump won that state 4 years ago. In Michigan, we lead by over 35,000 votes, and it's growing. A substantially bigger margin.
He says he's reading from a prompter.
No.
And you can tell because he says we were ahead by 30,000 verts. Then he says votes. The next word on the prompter was virtually.
Oh, he confused them. Yeah, I hear this
he's
all
reading
the time.
ahead. When he's reading ahead, and when he said votes, he had virtually on his mind.
Yeah, and
said verts.
Hey, man, give the guy some credit for doing that at 1 a.m. It wasn't easy.
You can stop. By the way, you can stop that clip. It doesn't go anywhere.
I have something fun.
One last clip.
Can I just? Is it a Biden clip? Because I have something I need to say. Well, stop for a second. Don't buffalo. I have something fun. There's a Joe Biden soundboard.
Come on, man.
I saw it.
I love this.
Come down here in the basement. Corn Pop was a bad dude. Guess what? If you elect me, I'm not going to have your taxes.
And everybody's favorite.
I'll call polluters accountable. It also holds I'll call polluters accountable.
You're a lying dog face pony.
JoeBiden.party. Great website. All right.
It's a fantastic product.
It's a great product.
This is my last one. Besides the Electoral College, we have a bunch of people, mostly socialists, coming on the various Zoom calls and whatever, including I got the one from Millie.
Can I just say something about Zoom calls before we lead into it? I did a Zoom call for the first time, the beginning of this week, friend of mine asked, Steve Leeds, who I've a lot of gratitude for what he's done for me. He teaches a class at Bergen Community College on the music business. And he said, I've done it before, maybe 15 years ago. I said, yeah, I'll come in, I'll pop in, I'll say something. And it was my first experience with an actual Zoom class. So there I am, I'm looking at 15 or 20 screens. Half of these kids are asleep. They're in their rooms where I don't know where they are. They're doing other things. And, because I can talk to a group of anybody. And, when you're in front of people, you can get that kind of vibe, what works, which direction you can go to grab their attention. You can look at people. It's
called speaking.
I realized every teacher is fucked. Sorry to use that, but you cannot communicate with a group of people this way. It is a farce. It is impossible. And the worst thing is people, especially these kids, they forget that they're on Zoom. And I'm expecting Jeffrey Toobin stuff to happen. They're looking left, looking right. They're knitting, talking to their dog. It is impossible to have any kind of human conversation with a group on Zoom. It's a fail. I had no idea how bad it is. I'm sorry for all the teachers and educators out there who have to deal with that because it's not something that works. Great speech otherwise. Yeah. Okay, sorry. So, yes, Zoom
you
call.
Probably knocked them dead.
Yes, if they weren't already in coma, I did, yes.
In coma. Now, going British on me.
Yeah, sorry.
Now, besides the Electoral College, the other thing they're bitching about, and on Zoom calls you hear it, socialists saying, the problem that we have is Biden's going to win, but what good is it do him if the Senate is still the Republican?
Right.
And he goes on, this one guy in particular, I wish I had clipped it. He goes on and bitches and moans. He says, we need a parliamentary system because with the parliamentary system, it's the majority who picks the prime minister, that he picks the president of the United States, in essence. And then it's all even. So now you can make progress because everybody's on the same page.
Oh, yes. That works real well. I've lived in several parliamentary systems. Yeah, it's great. You can do
anyway. So that's the argument, and that keeps cropping up. And what irks me, and I'm going to put this in the next newsletter, I think. And this is a chart I have of the control of the U.S. Senate and House of Representatives from 1855 to 2021. Mm-hmm. And the number of times that a president had both the Senate and the House on his side is minuscule. There's moments. Mm. I mean, I think during the Civil War, it was all Republicans. The Republicans took over the place for a long time. Mm. And then during the World War II, it was Democrats, during the Great Depression, it was the Democrats. The Democrats had the House and the Senate for a number of years until Harry Truman got in. Then he kind of lost one and got it back. And Eisenhower only had part of it for a while. It's rare that the president has the House and the Senate.
Right.
And the president, it's just rare. It happens, and it usually doesn't last. It only lasted with Obama. It lasted for 2 years.
Obama had 2 years, right? And he
had 2 whole years of it.
And he spent it on the Affordable Care Act. That's what he did.
Including a year where he had a 60-vote majority in the Senate, which that means he could have passed anything he wanted. He didn't do anything. But he was, he just got in. He choked. What do you expect? Well, here's a typical example of this idea. And again, it's in Europe. These Europeans, they got their own way of doing things. They don't understand what we're doing. They don't get it. And they definitely don't have my attitude, which is a do-nothing government is a good government. Mm. But they don't see it that way. This is divided Congress on France 24.
It seems that the Democrats are holding on to their majority, albeit a reduced majority, in the House of Representatives. But it also looks like the Republicans are confident that they're going to hold on to their majority in the U.S. Senate. So that would mean, if that is confirmed, a divided Congress. So it's really important to know how that could limit and frustrate a president's plans. The Senate controls the legislative agenda, so they could scupper plans by Joe Biden to introduce anti-filibuster legislation or will try and pack the Supreme Court because clearly Democrats are very upset by Donald Trump's nomination. They're just heading into this election of Amy Coney Barrett. So all of his plans for things like tackling coronavirus to a stimulus plan, all of that could be extremely complicated for Joe Biden if indeed he is elected US president.
I would like to parry something you said. The financial crisis was perfectly timed for the 2 years that Barack Obama had the Senate and the House. And I would say that was the banker bailout, and then it flowed right through into the Affordable Care Act, which, of course, is insurance, which is also banking. So it was always all about getting that done. And everything else, he was pretty much done after that. He was just Mirage Obama. He was like a hologram.
Well, it gave him time to look at his notebook and then drone a few people, a couple American citizens, 16-year-old kid in a cafe. Let's blow him up.
No, I think he just walked out of the cafe. He didn't bomb the actual cafe.
I thought the bomb hit the cafe.
Well, could be. I was talking with the millennials Monday night, and the millennials.
Were they all giddy about the big Joe Biden?
No.
Victory?
This is why I'm bringing it up. They were beside themselves with anxiety, with jitters, continuous plans of, I'm going to be sharpening my nails to attack Republicans on Wednesday if I'm not completely drunk because I'm getting my liquor cabinet stocked. I mean, here's what I want, because I analyze this. I love the millennials. It's like no problem. I analyze this. It is an extreme. It is actually the result of underinformed and over-socialized people. They are extremely, they want to virtue signal, and it becomes this hysteria, because if you really look, you'll see that people in their 20s in general, but even into their 30s, all are using this as their virtue signal. Oh, I'm going to have to drink. I won't be able to make it. I've taken off work for the rest of the week. Just like the a-hole guy that I refuse to do business with. Same thing. He's like, oh, I can't have a meeting on Wednesday because if Trump wins, I will have shot myself. This is, and their reasoning.
Did you tell him you should sign over the stuff before you do?
No, I didn't.
Put you in his will.
That would have been a good line. It's, and they're really not invested. They're really not down in the trenches looking at all the information. It's headlines. It's really just headlines. And I know it because I know these humans well enough, and it's all virtue signaling, but it's affecting them physically. And I got a note from producer Jeremy, who says that he's getting news from schools, that families, their kids are acting up and acting like crazy people in the class. And they have this super anxiety because their parents have passed this on to them. It's very, very destructive. I mean, hey, I don't want Joe Biden to win. You know, I'm clear about that. You know, there's all kinds of people I would like to see run the country, but certainly not Joe Biden. But if Joe Biden wins, I'm not going to slit my throat. Oh, I can't handle it anymore. You know, and
I know, what is the deal?
By the way,
I have no problem, and I have already figured out a million reasons it would be okay if Joe Biden wins.
Well, first of all, great for the show. I mean, let's be honest, it'd be great for the show.
Well, we get a lot of clips of Joe, because now if Joe Biden loses, there's the end of the Joe Biden clips.
Yeah. The soundboard.
It's a gold mine of gaffes. A gold mine of gaffes. There's the name of a show name. Gold mine of gaffes.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, he can't get anywhere with Mitch McConnell running the Senate.
But just stop for 1 second. There is a mass hysteria, and I would wager to say it is the 50% of the people who aren't racist and misogynists. So we have half of America are racist and misogynist and horrible people, and the other half are traumatized, John. This is some actual trauma. Hey, guess what? Our government actually isn't meant to do much. It isn't meant to function very well. So, especially if you don't have, all the stations, if you don't have the Senate, the House, the presidency, And otherwise, it's just going to muck around the way it always does. And yeah, Biden can put us back in the Paris Accord and build back better and all that. But it's a limited period. And it's like, okay, don't freak out. They're beside themselves. And Bruce Springsteen, this guy is from New Jersey, who says he's gonna leave the country if Trump wins. Well, I know some people in Jersey who are going to hold you to that, Bruce, because that shows a disdain for the very heart of America that you represented, and has nothing to do with who's president. It's just the working man. But you sang big songs about going to Saigon, kill the yellow man, born in the USA. You're a lazy, cowardly piece of crap, Bruce Springsteen. Ugh. So disappointed. Sorry, that's Jersey stuff. I have to make sure that gets out.
You definitely have this is the second time you brought this up, and I expect to hear again and again about it, especially if Trump finally wins.
Mm-hmm.
And good. I agree with you.
Now, there is one...
What kind of a dipshit represents the middle America and then just acts like an elite Democrat? Like he's a Hollywood elite.
Well, he lives in Hollywood. That's the whole problem now.
Oh, does he?
Yeah, he moved to California. And that was it.
Why?
I don't know. Patti Scalfa, his former backup singer, then wife, she lured him. It's her fault. Patty.
Wow. I didn't know this. Well, I don't keep up with this stuff,
well,
obviously.
Who would? Now, final clip for me about this, and I have a feeling that on Sunday we'll still be discussing this. I don't expect any answers, anything real soon, unless someone tries to pull a fast one, but I don't think that's possible. And there's no guarantee Trump will win. There's also no guarantee Biden will win. We're in irons. It's going to run through the process. There is a process. There's been lots of legalities that have been overlooked, done improperly, such as local state election laws. But the Constitution is pretty clear on how to run these. And so if we run it as per the Constitution, we'll come up with the right answer. There is one other thing that needs to be mentioned. We've talked at great length about voting machines in the past, probably in the 2008 election. We talked about it the most, the Diebold machines. And, that was Romney owns Bain Capital, I guess, took over that company. There's all kinds of shenanigans. What?
I was going to say, I think we talked about during the 2004 election, which was the most, but then again, with the show, we didn't have a show.
We didn't have a show. No, it was the 2008.
We would have been talking about it quite a bit
for
in 2004.
Sure. If we'd known each other, even. I'm sure we were thinking the same. And that there's been this, this theory that there's a way to change the votes upstream. And of course, when I voted, I paid attention. There's a touch screen. It poops out a strip of paper with your choices, and it's a computer readable form, human and computer readable. And then you go over to another machine, and it sucks it in. And I guess the ballot then drops into what looks like a trash can. I see too many trash cans in these elections. See these big bins. I've never liked that my vote could be in something that resembles a trash can. But okay, so that is then scanned. So there's a second computer with an air bridge, and who knows where it goes from there. I mean, I guess we could find out. But there are two, and I've heard of these names before, but I've not heard them out of the mouth of a retired Air Force General, McInerney, who he was like the number two guy, I think, in the Air Force during his reign. He's a Vietnam vet. And he's now he's been a consultant, as you do when you're in the military-industrial complex, with cloud computing. So I'm sure he's part of many of the bids like Amazon and Microsoft to get the big government deals. That's why you hire this kind of guy. So he's putting some stuff on the line in general by going on the War Room with Steve Bannon in the first place, which is, say what you will, Bannon has interesting guests, and here's what the general had to say yesterday.
The fact is that Hammer is what we call...
All right, I'm sorry, I should say it. He's talking about two programs. One is called Hammer, which is a surveillance program, which is, would be part of the way that the CIA can use the FBI and their systems and the NSA to spy on people. And the other one is, as a part of that, apparently, I don't know how they connect, is Scorecard, and that's what I want you to listen to.
The fact is that Hammer is what we call a SIGINT, a Signals Intelligence Program, that the NSA came up with years ago. The CIA picked it up under the Obama administration, and I broke it in March of 2017 about what they were doing on the Russian hoax. But the fact is, the Obama administration took this system and they put in an application in this SIGINT program called Scorecard. And Scorecard changes votes at a certain point in the voting stream. And if I can, and by the way, the Obama administration used it in the 2012 election in Florida. And so both Obama and Biden are very familiar with it. They used it in the primaries, and Bernie lost to Biden because they used it in the primaries. So it is ready to go. I just found out about this yesterday. Sydney played a very important role in assisting me and Mary Fanning and Alan Jones in trying to get the word out so the American people know all this enthusiasm you're talking about in Pennsylvania gets changed very quickly with this software program that switches 3% of the votes.
There you go. Hammer and Scorecard.
Now we have names for these things. Well, good that does us.
Well, I've heard these names before.
Yeah, you talked about them already.
Yeah,
or about not them. You talked about one of them, the vote changing software.
Yeah, but I didn't know it was called Scorecard. But it's possible. It's possible. Who knows? This was in the same.
Why not?
Did you hear him? You might have noticed he said Sydney has helped me a lot with that. This was a good episode of the War Room, which a lot of times is very hard to sit through, and I just pass. Sydney.
No,
go ahead.
Yeah. Who's Sydney? Sydney Blumenthal?
No, Sidney Powell.
Sidney
Powell, who is Flynn's lawyer. She's the one that's been defending Flynn.
Oh, that one.
Sidney Powell.
Yeah, she's a hot shot.
She's no lightweight, man. And
she's like
And the Keeper is a huge fangirl. She's read her books, 2 books, and. Which I look at these books and holy crap, there's a lot of material in there. She goes pretty deep. And so she's very, very, she's a powerhouse for sure. And this was what happened on this same show.
They've gotten names and addresses of people from certain churches, anti-abortion groups. They're using it for their social and political issues.
When you're FBI director, you're going to clean all this up. The American people get a commitment from you that you're going to do this.
Yes, regardless of political party, I will be a very highly equal opportunity offender.
This rumor's been out there, but now that seemed to be a confirmation. If Trump is reelected, then she will become director of FBI. That should be fun.
Well, Ray's got to go. But the problem is, whoever they put in there, they seem to be corrupted immediately.
Oh,
there's something up with that.
Yeah, well, we'll see. We'll see. Who knows? This is just the beginning. We're going down a long road, everybody, and your No Agenda Show will be here to hold your hand. If you feel dizzy at any time during the ride, just look to the ground, and it will all go away. And with that, I'd like to thank you for your courage and say in the morning to you, the man who put the C and count the votes, John C. Dvorak.
Count all votes. And in the morning to you, Mr. Adam Curry. In the morning to all ships at sea, boots on the ground, feet in the air, subs in the water. And all the dames and knights out there.
In the morning to the trolls in the troll room. Hands up, trolls. Let's see who we got. 2538, John. Yeah, this makes a lot of sense. We've been
2538.
we're hammering it. I love this. We have more trolls than a whole season of Game of Thrones. I'm telling you.
Write it down.
Yeah, 2538. We gotta. It's easy to remember because it's 2538. Nate Silver. There you go. 2538. Perfect. Good to see. And look at where they're all from, man. These guys. All right. That is
anybody from Saudi Arabia.
Oh, you might be surprised. This is where you can join the trolls. You go to noagendastream.com. And once you're there on the page, you can log into the chat room and you can also just listen to the stream. The two go hand in hand. So when we do live shows, which actually starts early on show days for us, Darren O'Neill does the rock and roll pre-show. We have Nick the Rat, I think, was live last night with the Nick the Rat in his sewer. We've got so many different shows that are live. But if not, then there's a rotation of some of the best podcasts from all of Gitmo Nation. It's all talk, no commercials, sometimes with some cool music, which is Pod Safe. Rhino the Bearded brings you the 00. And again, you can find it all at noagendastream.com. When you're in there, ask somebody for an invite to noagendasocial.com. That is our federated social network, which is, we're almost, ever since we've been plugging in a little more and telling people how the signal to noise ratio is so much better, we now have almost 7,000 people. It's incredible. And it's of great value. There's really good stuff on it. And I love how you can be on one, you don't have to register with noagendasocial.com. You can just go search for people at No Agenda Social in your Mastodon if it's federated, and you can follow people, and you could set up your own if you want. You could set up one for your family. Get away from this Twitter crap. Get away from Facebook. The only reason you're there is for narcissistic reasons. It's a small group of people that have any influence, and it's becoming irrelevant. And for that, you can go to masto.host. No affiliation with the show, but for about €9, you can get one of these servers per month. And
so I was on the Paula Book guy show on the election night.
Oh, how was that?
Yeah, Nick, you mentioned Nick the Rat. I brought it to mind. And Nick was on there. He's got his rat ears on and the whole thing.
Yes. Yes.
And also the beautiful Jennifer was on.
Jame Jennifer?
Yeah, Dame Jennifer. She was there.
That was just a star-studded show.
She is extremely telegenic.
She looks better even in person. You have no idea. You're like, wow. I said, wow, your pictures don't do you justice, girl.
Well, there you go. It's our, the three types of beauty thesis. There's in person.
Yep.
Photogenic, telegenic. And they can all be different.
Yep. Oh, yes. All different. Indeed.
Or all the same. Or in the case of a lot of Democrat pig women, pretty much consistent from one thing to the other.
Okay. And a big in the morning to Sir, I'm trying to save you, to Sir Net Ned.
Yeah, go ahead. Save me.
Sir Net Ned brought us the artwork for episode 1291. We titled that, of course, The Election Special. Simple, very effective. We had a lot to choose from, but just the campaign button that said good luck kind of did it for both of us, I think.
It hit the spot.
Yeah. We like to be kind of in the middle. Yeah, go ahead.
An astonishing piece, but it just nailed it.
Yeah, let's see. There were some other ones. Yeah, whenever you put people on it, like Hunter Biden or Hillary Clinton, it's probably not.
Yeah, you're asking for trouble.
By the way, the Chef Rent Boyardee, who did that one? Cesium 137, my favorite. Totally unusable. Do you remember this one?
Yeah, oh yeah.
It is so spot on, but just unusable. we can't be doing that. Let's see what else did we have here. Yeah, Harris bidet. Ha ha ha. No, it was good. I voted. Of course, I saw you use the I vomited in the newsletter. That was good. I
think by the same artist.
Was it Sir Ned? No, it's Arrow Shamrock.
Who did I vomited? Let me see.
Arrow Shamrock did that.
Oh, Arrow Shamrock. Yeah, I vomited. Now, I couldn't resist that. I mean, it's the best for the newsletter.
Now, it was just different. This election night, you were obviously on the stream with the No Agenda Nation folks. I was DMing back and forth with our Hollywood producer. He just kept DMing me on Twitter. We were just going back and forth the whole time. It was kind of interesting. When you hear
that's interesting because when
you hear the Hollywood producer of such hits as House of Cards or 50 Shades of Grey or 50 Shades of Grayer or whatever the sequel was.
And the money-making dogs.
When the producer of such hits says, I can't wait for your show Thursday, I wanted to share that with you, John, because that was like a compliment. I felt, wow, you know,
think?
we do something that this guy likes. Okay, then we can't be all that bad. So I was happy about that. And let's thank some of the people who are also thinking about us during the election and who have decided to support us under our value for value model, which all it requires is you considering what kind of value you got out of listening to the show. We think it's an outstanding product. You can hand that back to us in your time, your talent, or treasure. And treasure is where we bring you the credits for the executive producers and associate executive producers, in this case for episode 1292.
Well, we're starting off with Andy Cracchiolo, and it's the Italian Cracchiolo, not the Hawaiian Cracchiolo.
Oh.
So this, just in case anyone's from Hawaii, because it sounds very Hawaiian. Cracchiolo is, that's the way to pronounce it there.
Mm-hmm.
Phoenix, Arizona, 1333.33.
Nice. Magic numbers
Nice.
all around. Beautiful.
Yeah. I've only been listening a little while, he writes, ever since Adam was on Joe Rogan's last podcast.
There you go.
Picked up another
Roganite.
Roganite.
Welcome, citizen.
Hence my donation of $1 for the first time I have donated. And the 333.33 because it's always there somewhere.
Yeah, it is.
Thank you both for your hilarious insights and pretty open take on pretty much everything. I really love the artwork as well.
Thank you.
I'd like to be recognized as the Knight of the Cracks from Phoenix, Arizona, and to apologize for the state of Arizona for possibly handing Biden the election.
Well, that's off the map now. It's no longer true. Who knows what's going on in Arizona?
We're all slaves anyway, no matter who's in power.
This is that's correct.
Fact.
Yes, that's very factual.
I'd love to be de-douched.
You got it.
You've been de-douched.
And Karma Goat screaming jobs, jobs, jobs. The combination for the brighter future financially for my family, especially my kids. Oh, and don't enslave me, Kamala. And use that clip too. Love you guys. Keep rocking.
Don't enslave me, Kamala.
Jobs.
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 Jobs. Jobs. Jobs.
And jobs.
You've got karma.
That's getting popular, that new jobs karma. Getting very popular.
Dave of the Pacific Northwest, 1291.00. Dave of the PNW. Longtime boner, first time donor. No jingle, all karma.
You've got karma.
Benjamin Luster in the Armed Forces, obviously. He's got an APO box. This is for Sir retired U.S. Marine, Mustang, and proud American of the colored Negro /black / persuasion instant knighting. My email address is Ben, and he's got it.
Yeah.
I tried to donate an additional 0.55 cents to honor my 55th birthday. You're on the list, by the way. But the PayPal system would not allow it.
Oh, my goodness. Well, I'm
good.
Because
they would take the whole thing.
Yeah, they'd actually charge us money for that.
So
well, that's very nice, Benjamin. So we will be knighting Sir retired U.S. Marine, Mustang, and proud American of the colored Negro black persuasion. And you're on the list. Thank you for your support.
Speak of the devil, Dana Brunetti. From
yes.
the Brunetti Winery.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen.
$416.66 from Los Angeles, California. At least that's where his main home is. He lived in New York. I think I can divot. It's almost if he's got a New York twist to his voice. ITM, men and greetings from the ranch. Holy fuck, what a week. Please call out my brother Eric for being a douchebag. Okay, let's get down to brass tacks. Here's some cash that should get me to knighthood. But think I need a penny if my math is correct.
That's why we have the little plate here, so no problem. We'll drop that in for you.
I decided that I'd better speed it up before the world ends, or the Democrats take all of my money. My smoking hot fiancé, Alex, thinks I'm sending too much money to some guys on the internet.
Totally true. And you're not even getting a webcam session.
But I think she spends too much money on chickens. She justifies that hemorrhaging of cash by saying the chickens make her happy. Well, you two make me happy and keep me sane. Also, she liked being mentioned during my last donation. So here I am mentioning her sexy ass again. And her chickens. I'm no dummy. Anywho, I'd like to be Sir D.B. Knight of NorCal, otherwise Knight of the Golden Cloud Ranch. For the round table, I'd love some pasta and a bottle of Jameson from my private cask that is kept at the distillery in Middleton.
Oh, we want some of that. When
I haven't been able to get any sent over since COVID. Otherwise, I'd like a bottle of the 2015 Brunetti from John's Wine Cellar. He says it's great. Please give me a Reverend Al Gonna Need a Bitcoin, Biden, come on, man, and some goat karma for everyone listening. We're all gonna need it. Lastly, can I get a rain stick?
Ooh.
The ranch is way too dusty. The lake is dry, the pond is almost dry, and the fish, crawdads, and frogs are all dead. And I'm trying to get stuff to grow before the long winter, dark winter. Adam, it was a pleasure drinking whiskey with you virtually on Tuesday night. John, turn down your speakers and stay safe.
I got to meet this guy. He's pretty funny. So he wants a rain stick. I'm a little worried about that.
Yeah, he's on his own.
Really? I mean, we usually do rain stick for severe issues. Maybe you can give him a...
Well, the problem is right now, the East Coast is getting slammed. Yeah. And Horowitz is in the middle of a storm of some sort.
And stuff. Because
hurricanes.
Here's the problem. Whenever we do the rain stick, there's always lateral action. There's always something that comes off the back end of the stick, and it's usually ugly. And if it's all... I mean, what does he need it for? For his crop?
He needs it for his dusty ranch. It'll rain up there shortly. Tell him not, Dana, wait.
Dana,
it's going to start raining. In fact, it's supposed to even rain here in a couple of days. Trying to get that voice out of my system.
All right, so he needs a Reverend Al. That's actually Reverend Manning. Come on, man, and some goat karma. We got it. No problem at all. And thank you for your support. See you at the round table, Dana.
They're saying that all hell is going to break loose, and you're going to need a Bitcoin.
You've got karma.
Joe was a little soft there.
Come on, man.
There we go.
Come on, man. You want to give him one rain stick shake just because he's a producer?
All right.
Okay, this will be a half a shake. This means coming from you only.
Yeah, this is only a dusting, man. This is only a dusting. Ready? Woo! I think we got it.
I didn't hear it.
Well, I did.
Onward to David Fugazotto, Duke of America's Heartland and the Arabian Peninsula in Gladstone, Missouri, 36432.
Yo!
Greetings from the Fugazottos. This donation represents Mimi's birthday, 1104, multiplied by the magic number 33. I like that.
Oh, that's a good
nice
idea.
Next year. All is well with us, and as expected, I recently received another 60-day notice last week per Saudi labor law, since they're still sorting out funding for the next 6 months period of our contract. We're reasonably confident that it will work out, but in the meantime, our company overlords have directed us to search our couch cushions, dig around under the consoles and seats of our cars, and set up bake sales at strategic points around Riyadh.
I guess they're not paying them anymore.
To try to raise the funds for us to continue operations.
That's horrible.
I'm making my masterpiece lockdown chili pepper banana bread.
Whoa.
Lockdown chili pepper banana bread. Put a recipe up. We'll post it.
With we got silvered almonds, young coconut,
with
dried
slivered almonds, young coconut, and dried fruits. Sounds like fruitcake. Yeah. It's a winner. Of course, I'm bringing my dames to the kingdom for Thursday, 25th December again. That's interesting.
Yeah.
So if the contract funding doesn't happen, we may have an interesting visa status upon commencement of the new year. Exciting times await. Thank you for encouraging a bit of that juicy new jobs, Karma. Please, let's see if that can shake loose something to keep us solvent.
Yes, and we hope. It's been has it been a year now that he's been away from his family?
Way over a year. He's been stuck in Saudi Arabia
for a long time, man. God, that's so hard.
At least he gets the good hummus.
He gets the hummus we all care about. Sir Dave Fukazoto, Duke of America's heartland in the Arabian Peninsula, thank you for your courage.
Jobs. And jobs. You've got karma.
Sir Data Ops, the Wisconsin millennial in Madison, home of the rioting college kids. 333.45. Jingles, dogs are people too, boogity boogity, and some karma, please. School taught me to believe that global warming was an indisputable fact. Heck, let me read that again. School taught me to believe that global warming was an indisputable fact.
Fact check false.
Every climate discussion was about melting ice caps, solar panels, or mass extinction. It was not until I started listening to No Agenda that I realized science is a business and there's always money and fear. You have given me an invaluable skill set to better identify the propaganda around me. The only downside is now I question everything from the moon landing to chemicals, which turn the friggin' frogs gay.
Dogs are people too.
You've got karma.
Boogity, boogity, boogity.
Sir Danimal, Daniel Miller in Knoxville, Tennessee, 33334. Dear guardians of reality, your work continues to be outstanding, and this is the Camelot of media. Yes, I said that earlier. I consider every new show a blessing. By my accounting below, I have attained Baron status, and henceforth would be like to be known as Sir Danimal, Baron of the Secret City, Oak Ridge, Tennessee. No jingles, but may I have a heaping dose of karma, love, and light.
Yes, most definitely. And we'll see you for your title change.
You've got karma.
Arthur Brewer in Madisonville, Tennessee, 33333. And we have to remind the affiliates we're going long. I remember that lovely autumn day, November 6, 1987. It was like yesterday. I was watching my favorite new VJ, Adam Curry, catch me up on the MTV Top 20 Music Video Countdown.
Yeah.
And I just received my December 1987 PC Magazine. As always, I turned to my favorite columnist, John C. Dvorak. John was rambling on about the virtues of CD-ROMs while Adam was jamming Carrie by Europe for the 17th time that day. And I was off to marry my beautiful bride, Deborah. That was 33 years ago. I'm so grateful that this wonderful woman stuck with me all these years. I'm also grateful to have found John and Adam again and think of you both as great friends I never met. Come to a meetup. You'll meet us.
Yeah, for sure.
With this donation, I achieve knighthood. Please knight me, Sir Arthur, your once and future king. And please have Johnsonville Brats and cold Miller Lite at the round table. No jingles, no compromise.
Yes, they're ordered. Can't wait to have some of that cold Miller Lite with you at the table later on. Thank you, Arthur.
Stephanie Bell in Bangor, UK, 33333. Please send health karma for James, who is desperately ill. Also, ants, full version if possible.
Well, the full version is a little bit too long, but we will give you the most pertinent part because it goes like this.
I got ants. I got ants.
And here's your health karma. He needs it.
You've got karma.
Good old James.
Gavin McElroy in Croydon Hills, Victoria, Australia. Lockdown. ITM, John and Adam. This week marks my 33rd 3-3 week of listening to the show, which spurred me into my second donation. A former JRE addict, now fully sobered up by John's dry wit and Adam's COVID reality checks. Since I discovered you guys, he listens to less of Rogan. Thank you for your courage, gents. You have recalibrated my amygdala through what's been a challenging year. Unfortunately, my mouth shots have so far secured few new listeners apart from my good wife, who is even more paranoid than Adam.
I'm not paranoid. They're just out to get me.
Hi, honey. But fear not, I shall not give up. Dealer's choice on jingles. Peace out. Gavin in Salalah, Oman. Oh, he's in Oman. He's not in Australia.
No, in Oman.
He's in Oman, surrounded by Omanis.
Okay. Well, very good to have you aboard, Gavin. Yes, I picked something up for you.
Rogan donation. You've got karma.
Special stereo goat.
And I got to go get the letter.
Ah, yes, Sir Donald of the Fire Bottles, our first associate executive producer for episode 1292. He's from Spokane Valley, Washington, and he comes in with $246.90. I'm thinking the note might explain this numerology to us.
Each show I look forward to your COVID fear porn deconstruction, he writes. Note that we are now reaping the rewards of our earlier lockdowns and mask-wearing mandate. That is a prolonged pandemic. That's your rewards, kids. Months ago, the Swedes were called stupid for not buying into the lockdowns. They are now looking smart, though the M5M won't admit it. No jingles, no karma, Sir Donald of the Fire Bottles.
Thank you very much.
Washington Baron, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Nathan Newberg's next from Lost Wages, Nevada, 24445. ITM, back here to find out what is really going on. Back to the show is what he means. Getting closer to knighthood, no war and peace. Still can dance in Las Vegas. Missed the meetup in Vegas. Niece was getting married in Philly. And no jingles and jobs, karma, please.
You got it.
Jobs, 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 and jobs. Let's vote for jobs.
You've got karma.
Sir Bebop, Alula. 23456. Please credit Sir Bebop. Gentlemen, thank you for your courage of the 3 T's, time, talent, and treasure. This is all I got. Please play the 3 B's. Trump, bing, bing, bong, bong, boogity, 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 and the little girl, boom, shakalaka, boom, shakalaka.
Okay.
Bing, bing, bong, bong, bing, bing. Boogity, boogity, boogity.
Shakalaka. Boom, shakalaka. Haven't heard Nick's Kid in a while. Nice.
Dustin Hill in Edmonton, Canada. 23455. Alberta. Jingles, pew pew, orange, 2 Bidens. I don't know what 2 Bidens is.
I'm not sure I know either.
2 Bidens. I don't know what 2 Bidens is. House selling karma. Please call. I thought he was going to Biden to sell his house. Please call out Justin as a douchebag. Douchebag. This is the second time, dude. They tell you how to donate after every donation segment. Pay attention. A little lecture there.
Yeah.
Thanks, friend. This is my second donation, and having John call me out the last time I donated as a cheap Canadian, which I am, I decided to pinch a penny and only donate 23455. Ha. Get it? 23456 is
I got it.
Thanks for all the media deconstruction. Love the show and the sanity it brings in these uncertain times. Stay sane.
Yes, I don't know what 2 Bidens are, but I'll substitute. Something like that.
All right!
I'm going to give you the whole load today.
You've got karma.
It is kind of 2 Bidens if you think about it. Joel Donaldson in Elko, Nevada, 233.33. He needs Climate Gate as a jingle. I think it's interesting, by the way, just as an aside, that because it's actually, you were complaining because I had these letters, and you always, to smart money in writing letters puts the jingles at the top so you can cue them up.
Right.
But now they're just doing this routinely.
Sure. You mean we've trained them well? Is that what you're saying?
Well, somebody trained somebody. Anyway, jingle, and what's climate get? I knew what to expect, he writes, with this election, but not how it would feel. A Nevada governor said we gold miners are essential workers, but the legislature proposes to tax us out of existence. And he's referring to AJR 1. Go podcasting. Jobs karma, please.
To the gate, to the gate, to the climate gate.
Jobs, 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 and jobs. Let's vote for jobs.
You've got karma.
Too tight for the market, baby. Too tight.
We're turning the corner and heading down the stretch with Sir Howitzer in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, 222.15. Remember the 5th of November.
Oh, my goodness. Forgot all about it. It's Guy Fawkes Day. Yes.
Today marks the day where the unequivocal love of my life, my keeper to be for all eternity, officially agreed to take on my surname, Sir Howitzer. At the ceremony later today, please pronunciate she from Edith Ann to Dame Sexy Howitzer.
Mm-hmm.
Is she on the list?
Let me check.
Unfortunately, our note from the last podcast didn't make it in a timely fashion. I blame the unexpected influx of last-minute mail-in ballots. It is short and sweet like her. Always remember, a day without laughter is a day wasted. Health, wealth, and jobs karma for all the dames and knights out there. For the round table, please make a slightly more female-friendly, make it more female-friendly by including some bubbly. I think we have champagne on there, but okay.
Yeah, we got that.
Bubbly is whatever it is. And filet mignon for all those who are eligible to partake. Accounting to be sent separately. Thank you for your courage, Sir Howitzer.
Yes, and so he also says all credits to Dame Sexy Howitzer. So
which means that she'll get the producer credit, too.
That's right, and she is indeed on the list. And that's a very kind gift. How many years were they together? Doesn't mention it, huh?
No, 33.
And they never had a fight.
Jobs, 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 and jobs. Let's vote for jobs.
You've got karma.
I'm going to do a cut-in and read a missing note from my last couple of shows, and she wrote it in a card, so it's actually 2 shows late.
Okay.
This is Lauren Ball.
Oh, yes.
In the morning, Professor Dvorak and Dr. Curry. This is a make good letter from my $260.62 associate executive producer donation for your 13th birthday, episode 1289. I guess it's longer than that. For some reason, my email is returned as undeliverable. I just wanted to thank you both for many hours of entertainment, rants, information, and comedy provided every week, and keeping amygdalas around the world healthy and fit. Jingles, anything that is mac and cheese, TPP jobs karma. I don't know what that is. What's T?
That's the new one.
Big one.
That's the new one. Trump, Pelosi, Pence.
Relationship karma. Congratulations on 13 years of the best podcast in the universe. May you all have many more ahead. And it's pronounced Layrun, not Laren. Layrun, like Karen. What? Laren. Okay. Laren like Karen with an L in the front.
Yep.
Slidell, Louisiana.
All right. We got it for you. And we're made good.
You slaves can get used to mac and cheese. Cheap macaroni and cheap cheddar melted together.
Mac and cheese.
Jobs, and jobs.
You've got karma.
Bam, that's powerful.
I see TPP, I think, a Trans-Pacific Partnership.
Well, that's what makes it kind of fun.
Zachary Aubin in Fort Collins, Colorado may or may not think that way. $203.22. Shout out to Dave.
Hey, Dave.
Looking forward to a great letter. Did Dave send us a letter? I don't know. I haven't seen it.
No, I think he means your newsletter.
Oh, great. No.
Which is always an outstanding product.
Yeah.
I like how your sub headline was "The Terrorist Won." I thought that's a very enjoyable newsletter to read.
Yes, Terrorist Won. Sir Timothy of the No Fixed Title in Plymouth, Michigan, 20202. I'm contributing 20202 to thank you for such a terrific COVID and election deconstruction. No Agenda makes 2020 bearable. John, thank you for your many compliments of No Agenda Local 1 in the past several weeks. New listeners may not know that you inspired our founding during your visit to Southeast Michigan in May of 2014. We started meeting with you then and have never stopped meeting, and you christened us to start the tradition of naming No Agenda meetup areas. Our most recent meetup included a behind-the-scenes tour of Sir Cal's Lavender Blossoms operations.
Oh, nice.
In all its autumn splendor. That's got to be
beautiful.
Absolutely dynamite and smell terrific.
Mm-hmm.
We encourage anyone in Michigan to create a meetup near them, announce it on our mailing list, and enter it into the noagendameetups.com. Adam, in today's show notes, please put the following link to the forum for joining producer Jeff Lundberg's No Agenda local mailing list.
Yeah, we'll do it.
Okay, you'll do it.
Yeah,
we use it only to plan and announce future meetups.
All right.
Okay, and it's got a form there. Please play my fellow Michigan Baron Kevin's parody of Night Moves titled Fake News. Whoa, it's propaganda time. Sir Timothy of the No Fix title.
Baron of the Upper Peninsula and a non-goat karma. Got it all for you. Let me see. Hadn't actually played this one in a long time. I appreciate you asking for it.
Writing up some fake news. Trying to get cheap clicks and top page views. Writing up some fake news. Oh, it's propaganda time.
Karma.
I love that one.
That's a good one, actually. Brett.
Yeah.
Shimovitz, that's my guess. San Diego, California, 20133. In the morning, John and Adam, you may remember me as the artist from such episodes as 999.
How could we forget?
Sorry, but I couldn't resist embracing my inner Troy McClure. Simpsons reference for you nerds. I still remember professing my excitement and joy like a child who just been hit their first home run to my girlfriend, whose response whenever I turn on your podcast is, please no. There's a relationship. Please no. Nah. What are you going to listen to those two jerks? Being the amazing woman that she has still shared my excitement, knowing that it means a lot for me to be chosen for the art. Now that, or whatever, or the music. Now that this mushy stuff is out of the way, I'd like to present new business karma from my clothing company, Apolitical Link. Link with a K. Oh, Apolitical Inc. Yeah. Apolitical Inc. with a K. As I have progressed in my technical illustration career as a he's an artist. As a military contractor, I've come to realize that the things I value most are my freedom and creativity. I'm hoping
he wants to bust out. He wants to get out of. He's
trying to get out of the military so he can make money as an artist.
Oh, this is interesting.
Support it about the same money. Support the NA community. I can create thriving business to help support myself and the show. That's why for the rest of 2020, I'll donate 10% of all profits to the best podcast in the universe. I implore the NA community and all the dames and knights out there to visit Apolitical Link. Actually, it's Apolitical Inc. Because it looks like Apolitica Link for all you satirical.
Jeez, hey, I'll put it in the show notes. It'll work out. Okay, it'll be okay. But it's nice though.
Never get it.
He has blue shirts with Democrat with the Pepsi logo and red shirts with the Republican on it with the Coke lettering. That's cute. It's cute.
No, that's actually
we'll
creative.
Put that in the show notes. You got it. Thank you.
Vincent
thank you for
Shaw,
your courage.
Dearborn, Michigan, $200.33. I recently learned value for value the hard way on the street. Stuck at a light up ahead is a guy with two bright green buckets. Oh, geez, here comes the windshield washing scam, I thought to myself. But no, this hepcat squats down on the lane and pulls sticks out of his back pocket and beats out a drum solo on the buckets. Not Gene Krupa or Buddy Rich, but pretty damn good. Instantly, my frown is turned upside down, and this lifelong cheap bastard can't wait to drop a folder in his bucket. No de-douching or jingles, just life jobs karma for the unnamed drummer. You can wish my ausgescheidet wife, Teresa, a happy birthday. We're good if Adam can make the wish in Dutch, mit der accent. We're more than good. Been listening since Adam's sober appearance on Rogan and have yet to be disappointed. Thanks, Krishna, for your podcast. Cap Draymond.
Okay, so Teresa. Hello there, Teresa. I want to wish you a very, very happy birthday. This is a very special day for you, and we will put it on the calendar where we all poop. Congratulations.
Excellent. Greg Fields next on the list from Great Yarmouth, UK, $200. I've been listening since episode 1 and finally did the right thing. So a de-douching is required.
Yes,
You've been de-douched.
I'm in desperate need of some of that relationship karma. I've met someone face to face and in group chats and we get along, but in the painful process of messaging. So I might need a double dose. I will certainly let you know and the listeners if it works or not. Dealer's choice if you want to play any amazing jingles. Keep up the great work, you guys, and stay safe. Regards. Greg.
Was there anything we wanted to play? Anything amazing?
Just throw a dart.
Throw a dart.
You've got karma.
My screen! Okay. Sir Economic Hitman then we're on with the Baron of Congressional Dish. $200. Greetings from Sir Economic Hitman, Baron of Congressional Dish. Jingle requests. Mort Klein Tourette's giggle. always a treat. Cheddar biscuits and jobs karma TPP. A few months ago, I asked you to put a link in the show notes to promote the App Store release of my iPhone app, Mancala Fantasy Online. A turn-based strategy game dating back to ancient civilization. Well, they had it, that was pre-iPhone, I think. This game has a local 2-player mode versus computer and online play. I'm trying to get hired as an iOS developer, so every person who downloads my app is helping me find a job.
Okay.
Would you please put this link on the show notes again?
Yeah, I don't know what happened.
It would mean the world to me.
I don't know what happened last time. I'm sorry. We'll fix it.
It would mean the world to me. Apps, Apple, blah, blah. He's got a link. And that's that.
Okay. So this is such a good clip that I'm going to play I got to play the full in context first of Mort Klein.
Thank you, Chairman Nadler, Ranking Member Collins, members of the committee. First of all, I must say I have Tourette syndrome. Sometimes I have tics and make sounds I can't control. So please forgive me.
I'm not quite sure what he wanted with the cheddar biscuits, but I'll give it a shot. So, and he wants a karma with that as well?
TPP.
Oh, TPP. You got it. Okay, here we go.
Don't pull me back.
Biscuits!
No!
Jobs, and jobs.
You've got karma.
And that concludes our show.
Oh, really? That's it? No.
Oh, no, I guess not. We got more, sorry.
No.
Bradley Carrier in New Baltimore, Michigan comes in with $200. And he says, can I get Joe shoot him in the leg, 2 to the head, and her spine is gone. Stay safe.
Oh.
Or her head is
her
gone.
Head is
sorry.
gone.
2 to the head is gone.
Okay, that's the only one. It's gone. Yes, I can do those 3, and there's also no karma here. Just a beautiful little shot. Here we go.
We can do this. You can ban chokeholds. You can.
All right, that's not it. Oh my goodness. Sorry. Shoot leg. Hello. Shoot him in the leg. I thought we had an ISO of that. No. The hell. There we go.
You shoot him in the leg.
And her head is gone.
Okay, took me long enough.
Dame Jamie and Sir Mad Hatter together in Easton, Connecticut, $200. JCL Farm in Eastern Connecticut. I would like some peace intensifies karma for all the cities where Antifa, BLM, or just tolerant, loving leftists might want to riot. Sending soundbite to Adam in time for Thursday's show. wanted to put the donation in so that all the Night's Dames producers and douchebags stay out of harm's way. We love you, our No Agenda family.
Aw, well, we got some peace intensifies karma. There we go. It's rolling out right now.
You've got karma.
And she actually did send something interesting, which I'll play in a moment. Thank you, Dame Jamie and Sir Mad Hatter.
And last on our long list, and we want to thank everybody for making this a long list for show 1292, special post-election coverage, is Ron Convey, I know I got that way, from Lincoln, Nebraska. He writes in, I complete my 60th rotation around the sun today, and what a better way to celebrate your 13th year on the air and my 60th year on the earth than to donate to the best podcast in the universe. Your deconstruction throughout this COVID mess has been superb. I heard John get jitty about receiving cash in the mail, so I sent cash. I know I kind of discourage it. Please call out my buddy Brad Jazuski as a douchebag. I hit him in the mouth a month ago, and I'm still waiting for his donation.
Ugh.
I know he gets value from the program because we regularly discuss the show. No jingles, but please give a COVID karma to a coworker who is struggling with this China virus. And this is actually Sir Roland, ref of the Frozen Sheet.
You got it.
And yeah, that's it.
You've got karma.
And before we wrap it up, I got a note from Sir Genewich. We like to break for knights and for dames. And without going into great detail of his email, it is very clear to me he needs a special F cancer for several members of his family.
You've got karma.
There we go. And that wraps it up.
And that concludes our show. Oh, no.
No. The affiliate...
I want to thank everybody for producing and executive producing this show, or associate exec and
yes. And these are credits that are real. If you have an IMDb, feel free to put your executive producer credit on or your associate executive producer credit. They go well on your LinkedIn, your CV, your resume, anything. People take this seriously, and you can always point to the IMDb to make to just as proof that this is used by actual producers, and you are a producer, executive producer, or associate executive producer of episode 1292 of the No Agenda Show, also known as the best podcast in the universe. Thank you so much for supporting the work, for supporting us. We keep you sane, you keep us alive. That's how it goes. And if you'd like to do that for Sunday's show, I'm sure we'll still be here. Go to
Dvorak.org/NA.
And thank you again for the 3 T's, your time, your talent, and your treasure. Our value for value model.
Our formula is this. We go out, we hit people in the mouth. Order.
Shut up, slave.
Shut up, slave.
So as a little respite or respite, I was cruising around the Twitter and I found this. This is a Boston Terrier. And this is a Boston Terrier barking, and this is coming pretty close to being the talking dog. And I can't tell whether it sounds like an Arab or an American Indian. It sounds maybe a little like Elizabeth Warren. I think Elizabeth Warren.
Okay. And you want me to play this? This is an ISO?
No, not the ISO. The Boston Terrier barking.
Oh, here he is. I see him. Oh, man. That's piercing.
It's the damnedest thing I've ever heard. Here's the ISO that I thought might be a good end to show.
Trolls. Are your dogs reacting at home? Well, I did have an end of show candidate, end of show ISO, if you're interested in hearing that. Yeah, okay, let's check this out.
If a podcaster knows to do it, it's probably something you should be doing.
I guess the dog
Who's that fast talker?
That's from some true crime podcast.
Oh.
If a podcaster knows to do it, it's probably something you should be doing.
Yeah, I like the dog better.
Yeah, the dog's a little better because the other woman, her partner, is stepping all over the cliff.
Stepping over. I like the dog. That's pretty crazy.
It's totally crazy. It might be good if somebody ever wants to represent with a dog karma.
Oh, yeah, there's an idea.
You might have something here.
There's an idea. We could always do a combo, I guess. Let's see.
Stop the hammering.
Yeah, it could work. I like the dog ISO. I think it's worthwhile. So Dame Jamie mentioned some clips she sent. I actually pulled two of them. Are you familiar with the, well, I guess it's where vaccinations really started. The milkmaids who had the cowpox, and then they started using that they weren't getting smallpox because they were essentially infected by the cowpox. And that's when people started to realize, well, maybe there's stuff you can use that you can, some infection you can take that will ward off the smallpox. So you remember this, right?
Yeah.
This is.
I remember the folklore story. I'll look into the reality of it, but yes, it's a very common story.
You think it's fake? You think it's not true?
I think it may be simplified, possibly. Well, I could be wrong.
Well, Dame Jamie brought back some stories which I remember us covering briefly. But now they're kind of more interesting when you listen to them in hindsight.
Farmers are killing their mink by gassing them with carbon monoxide one by one. After the family at this farm fell ill with COVID-19, it became clear other people didn't infect them. The genetic structure of the virus they contracted was similar to mink infections. Every year, thousands of young mink are killed and their fur is exported to China, Russia or the United States to be made into coats and fashion accessories. The Dutch government initially said it wasn't necessary to cull the mink, but changed when it became clear infections were widespread. A last-minute court case filed by animal rights activists failed to save the animals.
So that was in the Netherlands, but this is now taking place everywhere. Spain?
Well, officials are ordering the killing of nearly 100,000 mink following an outbreak at a farm where animals are bred for fur. The Department of Agriculture, Livestock and Environment of Spain's Aragon region is ordering the slaughter of 92,700 mink after 7 workers on the farm tested positive for COVID-19, and the animals were found to be infected with the coronavirus. While the tests initially came back negative, subsequent tests confirmed that 78 of 90 animals, about 87% of the sample, tested positive for the coronavirus. This after hundreds of thousands of mink were culled in the Netherlands and in Denmark after 2 farm workers were infected at a mink farm.
This is weird. I mean, for months we hear bats, pangolins, the guy from Integrity Farms boning Mickey Mouse in China. I mean, all these different ways that it was passed from humans to animals and vice versa. And now they're killing all the mink because they actually apparently can pass the virus back and forth. This is not something that would be huge news and needs to be investigated immediately. Is it just me, or is this like just a throwaway story that could have something else?
This is one of those animal rights scams. This is what happened when God knows how many cattle were killed in the UK during the phony hoof and mouth.
Oh my goodness.
Fear.
Yeah.
And it seems to me it's just the animal rights people. This fur is bad, and let's instead of I love the thinking though. Fur is bad. Let's kill the minks.
Yeah, or maybe there's some natural protection that they have. They didn't say the minks were dying. The minks have the COVID, pass it to humans, can receive it from humans, but they don't die. And ferrets, a part of the mink and ferret are similar family, are often used because their immune system is similar to ours. They're used in all kinds of tests.
Evil little mammals.
They look great on the coat.
The minks do for sure.
So everything is shutting down. It's getting worse in the EU, much worse with the shutdowns. Let me see what we have. Germany's lockdown list. Oh, first of all, in the UK, they've banned protests of more than 2 people. So you can protest as long as just you and one other person, which is not what Tommy Robinson did. He went over to Speaker's Corner, Hyde Park, and he got arrested. You can't do that anymore. That was the place for free speech in the world. You could always count on just standing on Speaker's Corner in Hyde Park and being able to say whatever you wanted to. And that's gone. Germany's lockdown list. To be closed, restaurants, except for food delivery and pickup. All bars, clubs, nightclubs, and pubs, theaters, opera houses, concert halls, movie theaters, casinos, gaming halls, betting offices, leisure parks, fitness studios, sports facilities, swimming pools, prostitution sites, and brothels. Now it's time to panic. Beauty salons.
Hold on a second.
It's right there on their thing.
No, but if those are on, I guess they're legal in some parts of Europe.
They are. Yeah. Beauty salons, massage and tattoo studios. Let's see, tourist overnight stay offerings within Germany for prohibited. Professional sports, only without spectators. Restricted visiting in hospitals, care facilities. It's a mess. What's open?
How do they live? I'm going to ask you just a kind of a logical question.
Mm-hmm.
You watch NFL football, for example. They have nobody in the stands, and they have a bunch of football players out there running around, exhausting themselves, punching each other, pushing each other down in the dirt, falling on each other, and they're not wearing masks or any protection whatsoever. They go back to the sidelines, and there's the coach with a mask on, and the other coaches with masks on. The guys don't have any masks on. Are these guys just expendable? Which I'm just wondering, are they expendable?
That brings up another point. It's kind of interesting that, how many times have we heard of one of these players and, he tested positive, but then a week later, he's clean, he can go back on the field. This has happened a couple of times.
That brings me to the letter I got from producer Steve.
Is this producer Steve about his 60 days?
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead, read it, because I have the same letter.
Yes, you do. It says to John and Adam. Thought you two might be interested to hear about my experience so far dealing with COVID testing. Because I tested positive over 2 weeks ago, my company had a policy that I have to take 2 negative tests at least 24 hours apart before I can go back to work. So I took a second test about a week after my first positive because I was feeling better and felt I was negative. One came back positive. After the second test, somebody associated with the testing facility called me and told me to stop taking the test. He kept taking it over and over, apparently, that I would continue to test positive with the nasal swab PCR test for 30 to 60 days.
Yeah, this is where it gets
interesting. I needed to schedule an appointment with a primary care doctor to get scheduled for a different type of test. That appointment was today. It was a Zoom virtual meeting with the doctor scheduled for 1 p.m. The meeting came and went, and the doctor never showed up. I called the doctor's office 3 or 4 times, and he left a voicemail wondering what was going on. After about an hour, the doctor's assistant called me. He told me there was a mix-up. The doctor would not be at the meeting, and somebody should have called me the day before to tell me. I explained to him what I was trying to accomplish, taking 2 negative tests. He told me there's only one type of test, and that there's no antibody test available. When I told him what I'd heard from the PCR testing facility, he was dumbfounded. He basically had no answer for me other than to refer me to a 24-hour clinic who could test me for COVID. I called the 24-hour clinic, asked them about their testing procedure, which they explained to me is the same procedure as the original one I already took. They confirmed to me that I will most likely test positive to 30 to 60 days. When I told them that my company policy said that the policy was not in accordance with CDC guidelines and the policy should be changed, I asked them how the NFL and NBA players are able to test positive, then test negative a week or so later to get back to play.
Yeah.
And they said that, it's a very expensive, different test.
No. It's this test.
Bullshit.
That's the test.
Anyway, he goes on with this story, bitching and moaning.
Yeah,
and
but
he can't get
past it. The worst part is he talks to his HR, and they're like, yeah, well, whatever. just work from home. You can't come in. And keep taking the same PCR test until it comes back negative. This is so much bull crap. And now Massachusetts listen to this list. And again, this is not people dying. This is not a huge influx of ICU units that are beyond what they already have. This is just crowd control.
To slow the spread of COVID and protect our hospital system.
Sorry, this is Massachusetts Governor Charlie Baker.
Today, we're announcing a series of targeted interventions. First, the Department of Public Health will once again issue a stay-at-home advisory. This time, the advisory will be in effect from 10 p.m. to 5 a.m. Residents should stay home between these hours, with exceptions like going to work or to the grocery store. I've also signed an executive order that will require indoor recreation facilities, theaters, casinos, and virtually anything else that's open that's an entertainment venue to close at 9:30. It will also require restaurants to stop providing table service at 9:30, but they can continue to provide carryout. It will also shut down liquor sales at restaurants and at grocery stores and package stores and convenience stores at 9:30 p.m.
Why not? Just to train you, slave. Shut up. Get ready for the climate shutdown. This is ridiculous.
We've also updated the gatherings order to reduce the gathering limit of private homes to 10 people for indoor gatherings and 25 people for outdoor gatherings.
That's like, to me, that 10 people indoor, 25 outdoor is when they say you put your seat back up straight, sir. Because they're like, oh, this decline of 15% is clearly the difference between life or death upon landing or taking off in the airplane. This is ridiculous.
With limited exceptions, this order also requires that all gatherings, inside, outside, and private homes or event venues need to end by 9:30. And finally, I've signed an updated face covering order.
Face covering, muzzles.
Everyone above the age of 5 to wear a face covering in public. We're making this clear for everyone. No more exceptions and no exemptions for when you can maintain social distance. It's our hope that this simpler, more straightforward rule becomes easier for the public to follow and easier for local officials to enforce this mandatory order this way. And these measures will go into effect at 12:01 a.m. on Friday, November 6th.
Fantabulous, everybody. That sounds like a great place to be. Massachusetts, great state. Spain is targeting young people now who really don't get that sick from anything, but certainly not from the COVID-19. One of our producers was kind enough to translate a public service announcement into English, so I'll try to give it the spin. We need some dramatic music, really.
This came from where, I'm sorry?
Spain.
Let
me see if do I have any dramatic music?
Yeah, the Spanish, it really surprised me how they knuckle under these circumstances.
Oh, it's insane. Listen to this. Think, listen, and reflect. The data is there. Since the start of the pandemic, they have detected over 53,000 COVID cases in young adults in the community of Madrid. You are young, but you are not immortal. The virus affects us all. Your positive result can be very dangerous. They have fined over 3,000 people for not wearing a mask. Your diversion condemns all of us. In Madrid, over 1,500 young adults between the ages of 15 and 29 have been hospitalized with COVID-19. This is not a game. 70 adolescents have been admitted to the Madrid ICUs. Think you are invincible, but you are not. 7 young adults in Madrid have died of COVID. Being young doesn't protect you from COVID. And if the data doesn't convince you, look at me. COVID almost killed me. This is its fingerprint. Just traumatizing people.
Oh, brother.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. And, people are not having it all over Europe. Riots are breaking out. Not that you'll hear about it.
In Italy last night, there was evidence of how Europe is buckling under the strain. Hundreds protested in Rome and other cities against the closure of gyms, bars, restaurants, cinemas and theatres. For many Italians, the financial battering is proving worse than the illness itself. In Barcelona today, the Spanish hospitality industry was out in force against overnight curfews, regional travel bans, and a state of emergency which could last 6 months. This feels like ruin and death, says this restaurant owner. We have debts to pay and families depending on us. In Belgium, one of Europe's worst hit countries, the number of COVID patients in intensive care is doubling every 8 days. So this is a continent being
Stop.
Double. What's the numbers, dude?
I know.
Going from 1 to 2 is doubling.
I think that in every 8 days. It's like, so they had a doubling, no number. You're absolutely right. Good catch.
Yeah, one guy, there's 2.
Yeah.
One of Europe's worst hit countries, the number of COVID patients in intensive care is doubling every 8 days. So this is a continent being plunged backwards in time, and it means that large swathes of public life are again closing after a brief summer break.
Large swathes of public life. Well, again, Build Back Better is right around the corner, so this is what we'll be looking at. The difference is we have guns, so it'll be interesting to see how locked down we allow ourselves to be. Massachusetts, they have strict gun laws in Massachusetts. Can you just buy a gun? Can you walk around with a gun? Can you have a concealed carry? What's the deal in Massachusetts? Do you know?
It's strict.
Strict, that's what I thought, yeah.
I think you can get permits, though. You can get permits for conceal. Everywhere in the country you can get permits for conceal and carry a gun.
Very difficult in New York City to get. You can't just get a permit for conceal. You have to have, you have to have permission from the mayor. In New Zealand, now we've been talking about the camps. You heard the newly re-elected Prime Minister of New Zealand very specifically say, if you get your test, we're going to test you in the center. And if you don't want your test, we'll just keep you for 2 more weeks till you get your test. You take your test. It's right an incentive to take your test. You remember that clip?
Yeah, we need work. You need work on that.
Yeah, thank you. This seems to be for regular New Zealanders only, not for people who work in the government, you see.
Oh, that's the way socialists are. That's a socialist system.
Yes. So here we have proof, as there was one public health official who tested positive and was sent home to quarantine at home. And this became a bit of a conversation in New Zealand. Well, wait a minute. How come he doesn't have to go to the quarantine center, to the gulag? And here we go. We had an actual Q&A with the Prime Minister of New Zealand, who dances around this in quite a funny fashion.
We've had a few viewers from Christchurch email in. They're a little bit concerned about the worker in the Sudima Hotel in Christchurch who is now quarantining at home. Why are they quarantining at home? Why should they not be in the quarantine facility?
Yeah, and look, we always go through a process after a positive test of working through where the best place for someone to be is. So just to traverse very quickly the details of this case, this is an MIQ worker. So because they work in a managed isolation facility, they are part of our screening testing. They were tested on Thursday and tested negative. Over the weekend, because of course working in a facility, you're very aware of your own health and symptoms, mild symptoms. So they stayed for the most part to themselves. They had one household contact who has come back negative. They have had one supermarket visit, and there'll be a push notification around that, but that's already undergoing a deep clean. And no doubt they'll be working with that person to identify whether or not they should be moving into a facility themselves as well. But we let the workers on the ground identify where the best place for them is.
So the worker decides whether they get to stay at home or get to go into the facility?
No, not necessarily. But we do let the public health workers on the ground work through the best place for someone to be. Often it will be, there's a range of circumstances they'll take into account to determine where they should be. But for the most part, most of the time, of course, our cases go back into a facility.
Is the facility full? Is that the reason they're at home?
No, not at all. This case was only identified yesterday afternoon, so it's not unusual for just a bit of time to be taken to identify all of their close contacts, do the testing that needs to be undertaken, and then work through making sure that we're putting the person into the facility if that's the right place for them to be. So it's not unusual just to to make sure that conversation's had on the ground with the person.
Bullshit. You're right. This is exactly the socialist system for everybody except the government workers or members of the party. That's
the way it is. Why is everyone stunned by this? It makes nothing but sense to me.
Well, yeah, but you've been around longer than most people. So you know what to expect. These people, for the first time, for instance, a lot of people have not really seen predictive programming. They don't really know how to recognize it. Now, have there been a lot of movie productions going on in the past 8 to 10 months?
Not that I know of.
I would say almost none.
Yeah.
Yet, Netflix has a brand new movie coming out. It should be streaming any moment now. It's called Songbird. Listen to this short bit of the trailer.
Curfew is now in effect. All unauthorized citizens must stay indoors. Don't worry.
Tensions rise as we enter the 213th week of lockdown.
A grim new reality emerges.
COVID-23 has mutated.
Beginning thermal scan. Thermal scan normal.
A horrifying new development.
New data confirms the virus attacks the brain tissue.
Hey, whoa! I'm immune!
Worldwide death toll rises to over 110 million.
All infected Americans are being forced into quarantine camps.
Sarah, what's going on?
COVID 2023, you kidding me?
It's a Zoom movie. They did this whole thing on Zoom.
No way, man. This is high-end production. What are you talking about?
High-end Zoom.
No. I don't know. And they got Demi Moore. They got her somewhere. Found her to do it. I don't know. These types of things, I find this scarier than anything. Because this prepares people for stuff. It gets them ready for it, gets them into the mood. Like, oh, yeah, this is exactly what it's going to be like. Yeah.
That's what Hollywood's. That's what they're built for.
There was a beautiful moment on British TV. What was it? Channel 4, maybe, between Piers Morgan, the blowhard who used to live here until we spit him out. I actually quite like how he reports.
He's done okay. And his main thing when he was here was like he hated the American system and he hated guns.
Yeah, so out you go.
And he's running a talk show, and he keeps bringing the same crap up. Get out of here. Go do this UK.
So we sent him back to the UK, and he was on a chat show. I guess it was on Pierce's chat show, and he had Nigel Farage on. And this was almost like an Adam and John thing, even though we both would have known the right answer, where Piers Morgan is convinced of something that happened, that he is convinced, and Nigel Farage says no. And then they go to the tape and, well, you'll hear it.
I just thought that his whole strategy of taking this so lightly, not dealing with it properly, his nonsensical cure theories like, bleach and so on, all of it to me was woefully irresponsible.
So obviously we know and this is almost like a very fine people thing. The president told you to drink bleach. That's pretty much what Piers Morgan is saying here. And Nigel Farage is going to try and teach him that he's wrong.
No. End this nonsense. He never mentioned bleach, Piers. Do not.
Well, he did. I heard him.
Do not allow your viewers to believe that.
We literally all heard him, Nigel. What are you talking about?
Are you seriously telling me that he said bleach?
Yes.
Do you not remember?
You are wrong.
Do you not remember?
You are wrong. And let me add.
Well, you don't remember Donald Trump turning to his coronavirus expert and saying, you can now inject people with this stuff, this bleach.
Piers, you're talking, no, I won't use the word, all right? You're talking utter rubbish.
I just want to clarify one thing. What I'm talking about is when Trump back in April said, then I see the disinfectant, which is bleach, where it knocks it out in a minute. Sorry, bleach is disinfectant, Nigel.
Do you know what?
Bleach is disinfectant.
Grow up, stop being fake news.
Sorry, Nigel, just to clarify, these are the words of Donald Trump.
Grow up and stop being fake news. He never said bleach.
Okay, I'll tell you what, let's just play the clip. You say he didn't say use disinfectant bleach. This is what he said.
It's interesting. Right, and then I see the disinfectant where it knocks it out in a minute, 1 minute. And is there a way we can do something like that by injection inside or almost a cleaning? Because you see it gets on the lungs and it does a tremendous number of the lungs. So it'd be interesting to check that. So that you're going to have to use medical doctors.
Sorry, Nigel, have I made that up?
Yes.
Okay.
We just saw the clip.
No, it's okay. It's okay. If you think,
I'm sorry,
honestly,
you are sinking to the gutter by talking about bleach. You know you are.
Sorry, Donald Trump was talking about bleach.
I mean, isn't that crazy? They literally play the clip. The word bleach is not there at all. He started to already backpedal a bit by saying disinfectant. But there's no relate. This was a media story. The media made up the bleach and drinking the bleach, and then we had people who died from drinking bleach. They play the clip in front of his face, and he still thinks he's right. What is this?
It's Dimension A, Dimension B stuff.
I mean, but actually hearing the word bleach when the word bleach is not used.
Also, what's the drinking going on?
Also not mentioned. That to me was just
the word bleach is not in that clip.
It's not in the clip. It was a media thing.
The word drinking is not in that clip.
No. This is yes, Dimension A, Dimension B, cognitive dissonance.
But, I mean, it's extreme. I mean, how many people can listen to that? Which apparently Piers Morgan can.
Yeah.
Who's been a Trump supporter most of the time, and he's managed to keep himself out of falling into that pit. But now he's fallen into the pit. How did that happen?
I mean, didn't he hear the literal words that were spoken?
No, apparently not. There's some hypnotic thing going on. It's pretty hard to explain.
Well, I learned a very interesting new subject matter: prevalence-induced concept change in human development. And it's a new study, or not a new study, came out at the end of 2018. But this paper, which there's been no rebuttal to, was discussed by Brett and Heather Weinstein on their podcast. Now, they are actual scientists, can I say? They're both scientists. He is a hardcore biologist, social, what is it?
He's the guy who got run out of Evergreen because he didn't play his cards right.
Right. So this is a study that pertains to him.
And he's a Democrat.
Yes. But he's an actual scientist. So this real science is a real scientific study they're discussing here together. And it is phenomenally interesting.
What this paper describes is an experiment that tested what people's perception initially about color, having no connotation whatsoever, blue versus purple, people's perception of color as one color in the experiment became increasingly rare.
Do you want me?
Yeah, you want to do it?
I can see it, yeah. Why do some social problems seem so intractable? In a series of experiments, we show that people often respond to decreases in the prevalence of a stimulus by expanding their concept of it. When blue dots became rare, participants began to see purple dots as blue. When threatening faces became rare, participants began to see neutral faces as threatening. And when unethical requests became rare, participants began to see innocuous requests as unethical. This prevalence-induced concept change occurred even when participants were forewarned about it, and even when they were instructed and paid to resist it. Social problems may seem intractable in part because reductions in their prevalence lead people to see more of them. Amazing.
It's amazing. So if we can just put this in context, you and I immediately spot in that abstract a claim that, if true, has tremendous implications for things like claims of injustice. In effect, what we've got is a kind of built-in, apparently neurological relativism that as something becomes rare, finds it where it isn't. Now, you can imagine that there are all kinds of reasons that your neurobiology would have such a feature, right? Imagine
neurological relativism.
You're searching for berries, right? The berries you will find first are going to be the ones that are obvious and right in front of your face. As those get depleted because you've picked all the good ones, you have to become increasingly sensitive. So diminishing returns causes your perception to need to get more sensitive. You need to effectively become visually berry paranoid in order to spot the one that's halfway hidden by the leaf. I know. Yeah, that's an incredible phrase, isn't it? But okay, so you can imagine that this could result in you collecting more berries per hour, a kind of increase in your sensitivity. Your sensitivity goes up, which means you keep finding the ones that are harder and harder to find. And then eventually you're seeing phantom berries where they aren't. You're just seeing a shadow or a dark space in the thing, and you're reaching in and you're getting nailed by a thorn.
All right, so we understand what the study is about. I don't know if I cut out there. Did you hear the whole clip, John?
I've heard 90% of it, so I'm pretty. Okay. I know what this study is.
Okay, so I'd never heard of this study, and Brett and Heather Weinstein make the logical conclusion that if indeed, when it comes to colored dots, the less of the colored dot you're looking for there is, the more you're going to see it in wrong places. That to me is fascinating, and of course they can take this further right to their very own experience at the college.
So what you've got is a system that has, I think, an objective analysis would tell you that there was a great deal of racism at the founding of the country. Even people who wanted to know better still didn't. Right. And that the degree to which racism is a commonly encountered phenomenon has dropped dramatically. And that at this point in history, we are, in objective terms, far better off than we were with respect to this thing that we all agree is bad. However,
and not only that, but better than most of the world.
Better than most of the world. And we all know what the goal is, which is zero racism. Right? So that's an amazing degree of progress. But the point is, what it accompanies is a decrease in actual examples of racism that you encounter, which, if this paper is right and general, which it suggests it seems to be by virtue of the fact that they weren't just looking at colors, they were looking at things like perceptions of threat and perceptions of injustice.
Yeah.
That what this suggests is that as the phenomenon in question becomes increasingly rare, people will find it where it isn't.
Yeah.
Which raises rather directly the specter that microaggressions and every analog of them is going to be formulated as you approach zero with respect to this being a common phenomenon.
So if what these two scientists are discussing is real and this study is correct, it explains a lot about the craziness that we're witnessing in our world.
It explains everything. It explains the 1619 Project.
Oh, yes. It explains Black Lives Matter, Inc. This is an exploitation of a human trait that must be known. Or did these guys, I guess it sounded to me like they'd never heard of this before. This was new to them.
Well, I want to play a clip again. I want to do a repeat of a 25-second clip.
Okay.
This is the anti-Trump report from Deutsche Welle, number 3. This is where the girl goes off on Trump's supporters.
Did pretty well in this election. What explains for that?
Well, I mean, this is a reflection of where we are as a country, at least the United States. It's very divided. And there is at least 50% of the people who agree with his sentiments, whether we find them racist or misogynistic. They like him because he reflects their worldview.
Yeah, this is really interesting. So the less racism there is, the more likely you are to find it if you're looking for it.
Everything's racist.
Even though it doesn't exist. But this is an actual, it's a human condition. We have to remember this. Prevalence-induced concept change. Prevalence-induced concept change. Doesn't have a very sexy title, does it?
No, it's a terrible name.
That's not a great way to explain it to people. But the berries, like people will looking for blueberries and then they'll just see purple as blue because they want it so badly. And this test was done with hostile looking faces, with actual payment to find things that weren't existing. I mean, this is an odd human trait.
Well, what's interesting to me about it is that it really doesn't affect, at least at all levels. It has a in fact, triggering is a good word for this. At what point does it trigger in an individual? And I think it triggers in those people you always bitch and moan about, which is the underinformed, over-socialized.
Yep.
Because it doesn't trigger in me. I don't see racism everywhere, but I'm older and I went through the whole, you
lived during Jim Crow
era.
You lived during Jim Crow.
Well, I think I did.
Technically, a little bit of it.
It was there. Certain Jim Crow was not an issue in California, but the point is that it triggers certain people are being triggered by this, and they're very definable.
Yes,
they have certain characteristics, and
yes, NPCs.
A lot of them are celebrities, and what's common about them? And a lot of them are in high tech. I mean, what is this similarity between a Jack Dorsey who needs a shave and Brad Pitt? That they would have the same notions. They would be the same. They'd start seeing the same racism everywhere because it exists as systemic.
Okay.
And systemic racism. What's causing it?
Okay. Well, what do those two have in common? Jack Dorsey and Brad Pitt. Both of them have too much time on their hands.
Well, you'd think running two companies, Dorsey
goes off and sits in his
your time.
He sits in his yurt for 6 weeks at a time. Please. Well, what is it? What do they have in common then? What do you think it could be? What is this that? I mean, and of course you want to relate it to.
Why are they triggered by systemic racism, or why do they imagine?
Why do they imagine
racism?
It exists? Why do they see it everywhere? Well, I mean, you know what? We have a lot of smart people who listen to our show. So
they're smarter than us if they can come up with this. I have to say the media has something to do with it, if not everything.
Must be. Yeah, I guess if you see all day long, you see there's red berries everywhere. And you go look, and there's no red berries, you're going to start seeing red berries. That may be an amplification factor, actually. And it plays off of itself. It's in a loop. Because then it goes out, and it comes back in the social media, and then you got to see it again, and it comes back. I don't know. It's something to be aware of.
It explains the problem.
It does, yes. And I love how some of the trolls like, well, this is boring. This is two people talking. I can't believe I'm listening to science. Hey, we get...
It is boring. That's what science is. Science is
boring. Exactly. That's all that it really is. It's just boring.
Put some pretty girls on the cover.
A trial run. They did a trial run of the Belt and Road project. Let's say the trial run was, they have the railroad set up now. They were going to ship finished pork to China. Let me see where it was going. It was going from. Let me see what they're. So Finland has a lot of pork. They send it to. They send it to China. Normally it takes 40 days by container ship. And let's see, where were they trying to go?
Stinks to high heaven by the time it gets there.
Yeah. So they did a pilot rail shipment of pork, departed the 25th of September, was scheduled to pass through Russia, Kazakhstan, and onward to South China's Chongqing, who I think own Times Square in New York. And it didn't make it. It got stopped somewhere along the line at the Russian border due to inadequate export documentation. So they still have to work on some of the particulars, but that failed and it had to be destroyed. 20,000 pounds, 20,000 kilos. Yeah,
explain the Russians just steal it and eat it. They eat pork. Oh, by the way, let me see. What did I just say? It was destroyed my ass. They stole it and ate it.
The Russians. Yeah. Oh, they got some work to do there.
That's what I would do.
Yeah.
Oh, no, you have to destroy this pork. Just give it to us. We'll take care of it.
Quick little OTG, just a quick review. I got the Pine phone.
Oh, yes. Everyone's on pins and needles about this report.
I got the Pine phone is, now Pine 64, they make laptops and tablets that are all Linux-based, but they make the hardware, or they design the hardware. It's still, I believe, manufactured in China. And it has...
Is it made out of wood?
No, it's not made out of wood. Yeah, and it has little switches so you can physically turn off camera, microphone, Wi-Fi, or any networking. You can turn all these things off. and on with physical switches. And there's a lot of excitement about what this particular company is doing because they are selling it. Now, granted, it's early days and they say that, and it's only $199. But I ordered this quite a while ago, and I was anticipating its arrival. It took quite a few weeks to get here. And this is the Convergence Edition, which
I want to stop you. $199 isn't peanuts.
Compared to an iPhone.
Anything compared to an iPhone. We're talking about just a good smartphone or anything in between.
Right.
Flip phone. Anyway, go on.
Well,
I'm just going to say.
The idea is that this has a mobile version of Linux, and that you can plug as a USB-C port, you can plug in a monitor and a Bluetooth keyboard, and you basically have your desktop computer in your pocket, and it's the Convergence. So you can use it at your desk, and you can walk around with it. And
right.
So I booted it up. It's a piece of crap. I mean, it literally could not. The browser, which is Firefox, will not. It crashes. It just crashes all the time. You update the software updater crashes.
You have a defective version. Send it and get another one and give us a new review.
No. This is pretty much what everyone sees. This is not a defective device. What everyone says, hey man, it's for developers. It's early. Okay. So, all right. I'm sorry. I expected at least what the phone came with to kind of work. So. No, it's so far off, John. I mean, it's really, really early days on this stuff. I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. It's going to take another 2 years before they figured this out. It's too bad. I was very excited about it.
Yeah, you're jacked.
I was jacked, and it was, really within 15 minutes, I'm like, there's just no way. Then I looked on the forums, and I looked at the YouTube videos, and I updated everything and updated again and got the report. No, it's just not working. However, today, a Raspberry Pi came out with a new device, which is a throwback of epic proportions. Raspberry Pi Linux computer, $100 now, and it's a keyboard just like, remember the old, like the Commodore, the VIC-20 or the 64? It was basically the computer was the keyboard, and you plugged your stuff into the back.
It's just it's a way of doing it.
Yeah, so that's what they've done. They've done a Raspberry Pi keyboard, and it's a lot smaller than the VIC-20 days. Everything's built in. All you need to do is add your monitor, and you're good to go. And that thing's pretty powerful. They finally built the $100 computer. I mean, you don't have you're missing a monitor, but the keyboard, the mouse, everything else is there. And it's Linux.
Can you put any distro of Linux on it, or does it come with something pre-built?
No, it comes with its own pre-built Linux distro. You could put anything on it you want. That's
Can I put Mint on it with all this software, the whole loaded up?
Yeah, but I think you'll find that they have most of the they have video editing. They've
already done it.
It's all in there. Yeah, $100.
So they got the word processors. They got everything in it. So you can start a company.
LibreOffice.
And by the way, a good monitor on that thing is going to cost another $100. It's not the $100 computer.
True.
The $100 computer has to be $100 with everything.
Okay. Well, yeah. It's just this is nice because they've kind of taken that. It also reminds me of the Sinclair ZX80 in a way, although the keyboard is nicer.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I had one of those. I love that.
I bet you did.
And in the OTG, two things of mention. Three things, actually. There's this company in the UK which did a crowdfunding campaign and is on track to raise £5 million. And listen to what this company does. You give it your bank information, and it logs in, and it analyzes your spending and gives you handy tips, which on average saves the users £1,500 a year when they switch to this new company, which is named Snoop, of all things. I mean, could they spell it out any clearer? Snoop, S-N-O-O-P. And they've raised £5 million from crowdfunding. And now the government thinks it's such a good idea they've doubled the 5 million to give them 10 million pounds and the number one tech innovation ranking for 2020 on this thing that you literally allow to log into your bank account and analyze what you do, take it back to their server, run it through some AI mumbo jumbo. And people are excited about this. And it's
People
called Snoop. It's called Snoop. Could it get any stupider?
I know, it's dumb.
Not quite as dumb as I've always wondered about the Ring cameras. And of course, we know that the cops can access footage. Well, they've taken it one step further. They're doing a trial in Jackson, Mississippi. Now they'll just be streaming video from your doorbell 24/7. People who participate in this trial. So you literally have built the Skynet surveillance system in your own street, in your own neighborhood, by allowing
and you like it.
You're going to love it. Exactly. And then maybe, and something I was hoping you could shed some light on, apparently Proposition 24 passed in California, which means California residents will have a lot more rights to so-called privacy over Silicon Valley big tech companies than other states.
Yeah, one of the things I voted no on.
Yeah.
I believe it's one of those whipsaw bills that says that they're giving you more and they're taking away something. I don't know the details. I kind of knew when I did my little proposition list because I read very thoroughly what the legislative analyst thinks of all these things and some other people. Yeah, I saw that. We have the privacy laws that we have are pretty succinct and accurate and do the trick. What does this do? It adds another layer. And I think what it does, I believe initially, was that what this does is it complicates things to such an extreme is that no small company can really implement it. You need to have a big company like Twitter or Google, and you need a bunch of lawyers.
That's exactly it. That's exactly what they're going for.
That's what you do.
And I'd say it's a precursor to what they want to do with Section 230. It's the same thing. You know, it's like, no agenda social.
Make it unworkable.
Yeah. Make it.
No agenda. Did you fill out your TSP report for the new Section 230 to make sure that you're doing everything right?
Exactly.
We need that report every month.
That's exactly what it's going to be.
Well, this report, it's a 20-page report. How are we going to do this every month?
Yeah.
Well, if you go into arrears with the report, you're going to have to turn one in every week. I mean, you can just see this is just like a bureaucratic bullcrap, just to knock the little guy down.
We're just going
to kick the little guy in the nuts.
The whole system's got to move to the blockchain, John. That's where our podcast will be. That's where everything's going to be. It's coming. And people will be so sick and tired of. Do you think after this election that really people? I'm just going to presume Joe Biden wins. I think he has a good chance. He's got a big machine behind him. That'll be it for social media. That'll be it for media in general. There'll be no more Trump to kick around, no more Trump to have to get some good ratings for whatever reason. Social media, what are we going to argue about? It'll just be dumb. Well, I think everyone's going to go off and do their own thing. I don't see any of this as good for the media business, particularly big tech in general.
Well, yeah, maybe. I don't know. All I know is that things just kind of keep going, whatever happens. So, what else we got? Well, maybe we take a break here.
Yeah, I think we should. I think we should take a quick break.
Because of our time, we're running out of time.
We are running way long. Affiliates, please note that this is what's happening.
I'm going to show my support by donating to No Agenda. Imagine all the people who could do that. Oh yeah, that'd be fab. Yeah, on No Agenda. In the morning.
Luckily, today's show's a little top heavy, so we don't have as many people in the second half, but we have people to thank.
We do.
For producing show 1292. Starting with Gergana Yankova in Chesham, Buckinghamshire, UK, 133.33. I will read this note. I'm not going to read a note. We don't read notes, but I'm going to read this one. This donation is from behalf of my mom, Maya Yankova, in Sofia, Bulgaria.
Hey.
I love you, Mom. I just thought that was sweet.
That's very cute.
Onward, John Robinet, $100. Baron Latikin in Houston, Texas, $100. Lucas Zua in Munich, Deutschland. Wukash. Russ Cheatwood, 8008. Baron Mark Tanner, 80. Sirgot Nate in Sebastopol, California, 6996. John Tierney in Thompson, Connecticut, 5678. Brian Fairley in Littleton, Colorado, 5510. Double nickels on the dime. Also, Anthony Rodriguez in Tucson, Arizona, 5510. Need you both more than ever, he says. Chris Leto in Clarksville, Tennessee, 5510. Sir Tom Dari, 5510 from DeForest, Wisconsin. Michael Barco in Salem, Oregon, 5432, 5432. Michael Gates in Colorado Springs, 5280. Ezekiel Chopper in Westminster, Colorado. Like the name. Eric Hokel in Mulrose, Deutschland. 52, or regular. He's a sir.
Yes, he's this big sir. Big sir from a long time around. Corey Rule, who came in with 5183 from Marion, Iowa, sent a note which I wanted to share. We don't typically do that under the executive producers, associate executive producers, but we are making an exception. 2020 has been exceptional for me. In addition to the difficulties shared by most, I managed to cut off 3 fingers in February. Luckily, they were replanted and I saved much of the function of my hand. Well, this is good news. It's been a protracted recovery process, especially with a nasty staph infection that required 3 months of antibiotics and 40 sessions in a hyperbaric chamber. Holy crap. Throughout the process.
Wow, what a story.
40 sessions in a... Why do you need to go into a hyperbaric chamber? Do you know? Do you know what's the deal?
For staph, or, that's that flesh-eating bacteria. I don't know.
Oh,
I have no idea why this would be required.
Oh, it's frightening. Okay, so 40 sessions in the hyperbaric chamber. Throughout the process, no agenda has been a godsend, allowing me to escape the ruminations of my situation for at least 6 hours a week. Other than sleep, it was the only psychological escape I had from obsessing over a devastating loss. Thank you. And then he has a whole bunch of 33s that told him it was time to donate. It took me several weeks to pull the trigger on donating, as returning to my job has been in question. My modest donation isn't much, but hopefully it helps keep the exit strategy away. De-douching for myself.
You've been de-douched.
And a douchebag call out for Francis Burns III. Douchebag. All right, man. Thank you very much, Corey. And I'm glad everything's okay.
Yeah. Jason Lauf in Oakland, Maryland is next, 50-50. The following people are $50 donors, name and location as we wrap this up. Starting with Villarreal in Mercedes, Texas. Bradley Ledden, parts unknown. Michael Janoski in Lindora, Pennsylvania. Nicholas Wagenfiler in Havre de Grace, Maryland. Sir Matthew Januszewski in Chicago. David Beach in San Antonio, Texas. Stephen Carluccio in Bedford, Massachusetts. Nuts. Douglas Engstrom. Dan Scalise in Vernon, Connecticut. James Sharameta in Napanock, New York. Aichi Kitagawa in San Francisco, California. Sir Brett Farrell in Oklahoma City. And last, Sir Brian Watson in Raleigh, North Carolina. I do have one little cleanup at the end here. Okay. This was a $25 donation to complete a knighthood. I just want to make sure he's on the list. This is from Tim Chapman. He says, thanks for all the insights and information.
Yep, he's on the list.
He's going to be knighted today as Sir Timothy, Knight of the Inland Northwest. I want to thank all these folks for producing show 1292.
Yowza. Holy crapamole. Thank you all so much for a fantastic episode post-election. And, of course, it'll be post-election for a long time until we find out exactly what happens.
Post-election.
Post-election. Thank you all for helping us produce episode 1292 of the best podcast in the universe. And that's not just for the financial support. It's time, talent, and treasure. It includes clips. It includes information. We've gotten great emails from people. Fantastic things to work with. It's highly appreciated. And we'll be here to do it all again for you on Sunday. to participate in supporting us, go to
Dvorak.org/NA.
And I think we can always throw out a jobs karma for everybody who needs it.
Jobs, 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 and jobs. Let's vote for jobs.
You've got karma.
It's your birthday. Oh, no agenda.
Remember, the 5th of November, here's our birthday list. We say happy birthday to Sir Richard of Carwathas, who turned 53 on the 2nd. Mark Tanner celebrated on the 3rd of November. Annie says happy birthday to his wife, Beverly, who will be celebrating tomorrow, and his daughter, Allison, who will be celebrating the 21st. Sir Howard, happy birthday to his wife, Edith Ann. Benjamin Luster is turning 25, and Vincent Shaw says happy birthday to his wife, Teresa, and we say happy birthday from everybody here at the best podcast in the universe.
It's your birthday, yeah. Title changes. Turning faces late. Title changes. Don't wanna be a douchebag.
Man, it's been weeks and weeks since we've had a title change and upgrade. Today that goes to Sir Danimal, who upgrades to Sir Danimal, Baron of the Secret City, and that is Oak Ridge, Tennessee. And thank you very much, Sir Danimal. Thanks to your upgraded status, an additional $1,000 to the No Agenda Show. And thank you very much for your courage and for supporting us. Now we have, we got a whole bunch of knights and we have one dame, so this requires bladage, appropriate size.
I got the ruby one.
Ooh, that is pretty, isn't it? Up on the podium, please. Tim Chapman, Edith Ann, Arthur Brewer, Andy Cracciolo, Benjamin Luster, and Dana Brunetti. Gentlemen and lady, all of you have reached the coveted status of Knight of the No Agenda Roundtable, thanks to your support in the amount of $1,000 or more. And I am very proud to pronounce the KB, Sir Timothy, Knight of the Inland Northwest, Dame Sexy Howitzer, Sir Arthur, your once and future king, Sir Andy Krakilau, Knight of the Cracks, Sir Retired U.S. Marine Mustang, and Sir DB, Knight of NorCal. For you, we've got Hookers and Blow, Rent Boys and Chardonnay, Johnsonville Brats and Cold Miller Light, Pasta and a Bubbly of Jameson, Bubbly and Filet Mignon, and, well, if you don't like that, then we always have the mutton and meat, which you can all get here at the round table. And then would you please head over to noagendanation.com/rings. Tell Eric the Shield exactly what he needs to know, where to send your ring, your sealing wax, and your official certificate, and also your ring size, and we'll get that out to you as soon as possible. And thank you again for producing No Agenda, episode 1292.
No Agenda Meetups.
NoAgendaMeetups.com, where you can find places to hook up with our Gitmo Nation slaves all around the world. And they do take place everywhere in the world. It's fantastic to see. You can go to noagendameetups.com to find out exactly where a meetup is taking place. And here's what's happening today at the Guy Fawkes Coffee Stroll and Troll. That'll be in Quebec. I guess that's already underway at St. Roche Coffee Shop. On Saturday, the Dallas meetup at Dot's Hop House and Cocktail Courtyard. Dave Andrews organizing that for you. Also, we have one in Midland, Texas at Rusty Bucket's Barbecue. Wow, a lot on Saturday. Burling, Ontario, the meet up at Ye Old Squire, Sir Dwight the Knight taking care of you, and the autumn Boston, Massachusetts meet up at 2:30 on Hennessy on Union Street. I wonder if, and with all the lockdowns, I wonder if they're going to meet outside, or, well, keep an eye on noagendameetups.com for more information. And then on Tuesday, shuttling ahead, the Inland Empire, California, 11 a.m. Pacific time. That's a picnic at Sylvan Park. And we also have a promo here for a Charleston meetup, or is it the meat shoot coming soon?
In the morning, Low Country producers, we're having a meat shoot. Join us Saturday, November 14th, 1 p.m. at CNS in North Charleston. Visit noagendameetups.com to RSVP. Come on out and put holes in paper with the Knights and Dames.
I love it when you put your promos together and it's under the 30 seconds that John requires. That is No Agenda Meetups. Go to noagendameetups.com. Find out where we're meeting and hanging out near you. If there isn't one, why don't you start one? It's easy. It's like a party.
Sometimes you want to go hang out with all the Knights and Dames.
Yeah, there was one thing I needed to tell you. The Ant IPO. This was the IPO that is supposed to be bigger than anything ever.
We talked about quite a bit on DH Unplugged.
Oh, you did? Well, it got canceled.
Yeah, we talked about that too.
Oh, well, I didn't hear DH Unplugged.
We're both very skeptical that this company is because any of those numbers that they claim. I think the government cracked down.
Well, the whole idea was this is
their whole thing about the number of transactions they can do in 1 second. It's ridiculous.
What are they claiming?
Oh, it's like 10 times faster than anybody's ever done, including the biggest banks in the world.
Oh, really?
You look at these numbers and you're just immediately skeptical. Like, really? How are they doing it? Nobody else is.
Huh. Well, I sent the article to the former New York banker. I said, hey, and you know what his reply was? Yes, never underestimate the power of the American banking system. So, okay. All right. I don't know. I think it was the Chinese that stopped it, but
it was the Chinese government.
Yeah. So what was the conclusion? What did you guys conclude? I mean, the reason for this
government doesn't need an embarrassment that's going to be make this look like a giant scam, and they also maybe wanted a piece of the action, a piece of the IPO, and they weren't going to get it.
Aren't they?
It was going to be the biggest IPO in the history of mankind.
Wasn't it also
bigger than Aramco? I mean, it was going to be outrageous. It didn't smell. Did not pass any normal person's smell test.
And of course, they would compete with whatever digital currency the Chinese government is working on. I guess.
Well, they could be brought in. It's not that. I think it was just sketchy. I have 2 clips, maybe 3. I'm not going to play the Gaga in fatigues, which I do have.
I don't even know. I don't even know what that is.
You didn't see this? Everybody, there's been so much mockery of it. I'm surprised you didn't see
No. Now you got to tell me.
People mocking it with left and right. Gaga's standing. I have to set it up. I have the clip.
Okay.
Best I can do. She's standing next to a 4x4 pickup truck that's got these tires bigger than she is.
Mm-hmm.
She's wearing fatigues and an army hat, and she's drinking a beer. And she's talking to middle America with this outfit on and discussing how you should vote for Biden. And then at the end, you're going to hear her crush the can. She doesn't really drink from the beer. I don't think she drinks beer. And throws the can to the ground. And everybody just mocked the hell out of this thing. And play it and you can get an inkling.
I didn't know anything about this.
Hey, this is Lady Gaga. I'm voting for America, which means I'm voting for Joe Biden. And if you live in Minnesota, Pennsylvania, Georgia, Michigan, Florida, or Arizona, I encourage you to vote. And if you have a friend that lives there, tell them to vote. I'm going to be in one of these states tomorrow. Guess which one I'll be in? Hint, I used to live there. Cheers to the 2020 election.
So I can't find a picture of this. I mean, in fatigues, that's what I'm looking for. Lady Gaga in fatigues.
Lady Gaga, Joe Biden. I think you can find it that way.
Oh, so it was a Joe Biden post. It was a Joe Biden thing. And she was all Miss Heartland in her fatigues.
Yeah, Miss Heartland. She's going to be there tomorrow somewhere.
Oh.
That got most of the ridicule. I'm going to be there tomorrow. You have to figure it out.
I have not. I totally missed that.
Oh, that's funny. Well, you didn't miss much.
Well,
the parodies were funnier, generally speaking, especially the big fat guy.
What happened yesterday is while everyone was, I had to do something else. I'm like, I can't. And Drew came over, and I got my podcast desk. The new desk is in.
Oh, cool.
I've been running it. Yeah, I've been running it all show. It's phenomenal. Phenomenal. I'm going to have to...
oh, you know what? That's why you got disconnected.
No, that's not.
They got the wrong frequency on the bug they planted in that new desk of yours.
Yeah, possibly. No, I don't.
It's interfering with the stream.
I don't think that's the problem. I'll take there's a couple more plugs that have to be done. 1 or 2 more wires.
Yeah, that's the one where the bugs inside that plug.
The Ethernet plug. Once all of that is done, I'm going to. I'll take some cool pictures of it. It is beautiful. I'm so happy. Only waited half a year for it.
So, well, it was worth the wait. So,
well worth it.
Did you see the modern Millie's, millennial Millie's thing with all the coup plotters?
Yeah. I
What
heard.
do you think of that?
Of her new video?
Yeah.
Yeah. To me, here's the problem. Here's the problem. I watch this and I see all the stock footage. And I'm like, no, I'm not that impressed. But I'm just not impressed in general by it. And what was so new?
It wasn't. The point was that they were admitting they're going to do a coup against the United States.
Yeah. Who was they?
A bunch of douchebags.
Mm-hmm.
The douchebag BLM and douchebag this and douchebag that. Mostly Sunrise Revolution. What are they called? Sunrise Uprising.
Those, because they got all the Zoom. But we've been watching these Zoom videos for months. We've seen all this stuff that they're preparing. And it's a big LARP is what it is. It's a whole bunch of people sitting on Zoom in their little rooms going, we have to be ready. We have to be ready for this, and we will have to be armed.
Well, they're supposed to be taking over Washington, D.C. today and tomorrow.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure they can cause a ruckus, but I don't know about. I mean, and my favorite is, look at this map. We got this from the GIS, so we've downloaded this.
I know.
This is more detailed than Google. Look, we can see exactly where the police headquarters are, so we'll have to surround that, and we'll have these escape routes, and we can get into the White House.
Now you have to play the clip because you're just making fun of them.
Yeah, of course I'm making fun of them. What's the clip?
Coup plotters.
Coup plotters, Millie.
I'm an anagrams analyst.
I work in the national security community.
I spent 3.5 years as a contractor at DHS HQ.
If you read the mainstream press, like they all have Signal accounts. Text them, leak everything you can.
I think making sure that we're naming what is happening as a coup.
Totally agreed in the shutdown BC conversations that I've been having, and that's not on the federal side. We also are often saying, call it a coup.
Do we have any plans for how to respond if there's a coup?
On the 5th, we're going to shut down the White House.
Map the White House and know every access point so we knew we could blockade it.
On the 6th, we're going to shut down larger parts of Washington, D.C.
We've been working on a target map and a framework for scenario. So where are all the police stations? Where are all the key government buildings? Who are the Trump boosters?
Members of Congress that are coming in, we're going to meet them at the airports or at Union Station and send them back to where they came from until we deal with the situation that we're in.
We are going to be in a crisis, but we want it to be one that we are creating.
My favorite is the old bag who looks like Amy Goodman's sister, and she's from the climate existentialist whatever, and she's like, well, some of you
rebellion.
Yeah, some of you will get hurt. You know, it's like, these people. Are you kidding me? I don't think a single one of those people on those Zoom calls. We have to call it what it is, a coup. We have to make sure that we say this. It's a LARP. Did you see it any other way?
I just saw it as highly entertaining.
Well, of course. And
I've always liked Millie.
Especially the YouTube comments, as you pointed out to me on the, you got to follow the comment. You got to follow the comments.
That's why you got to watch it full screen so you see the on the side.
Don't watch it on your phone. You got to watch the full screen experience is what you want, because that really
so you
makes
can get those comments. Yeah. It's hilarious.
And you know, I love how
2 clips, and I
was going to say,
yes, you have something.
I was going to say, I love how Millie set it up by saying, "This is so shocking. We've alerted the authorities to what we've uncovered." Okay. Please.
She's a little melodramatic.
Do you think? Okay.
She needs a little, I think maybe a little work on the roots too. Might not hurt.
Ooh.
Meow. So let's play these 2 clips. I got Brooks and Shields before the election commenting. Of course, these are the 2 guys that are on PBS NewsHour. Both exactly the same political orientation, and it's supposed to be balanced. They've never had anybody on that show that is, balanced, except that when they have a guy, they kick him off. He never gets back on.
Right.
But I got 2 clips. One is Brooks' weird comment and prediction, and then Shields, who actually says Biden in a clip where he makes absolutely no sense at all. And I just wanted to play these 2 because I've been really remiss in not getting enough of these guys on the air.
And I appreciate it. It's a great way to end the show. With two guys that you're the only one left watching them. Here's Brooks.
I am.
Here's Brooks.
Well, the polls are seem if 2016 hadn't happened, we'd think, it's going to be a very clear Biden win. But 2016 did happen, so we don't know. I think what strikes me most about the electorate right now is just how fraught they are. 70% of Americans say that there will be permanent damage to this country if the wrong candidate wins, if the other candidate wins. 80% of Democrats say that if Trump wins, he will take us gradually toward dictatorship. 90% of Republicans say if Biden wins, he will take us gradually towards socialism. So there's a great sense in the country on all sides that if my side loses this election, the country is in mortal peril. And so that's what makes this such an intense election. The piece of good news to me is that if you ask people, what's the single biggest problem facing this country, 90% say polarization and division.
Oh, really?
How is that good news? Did you hear that?
Yeah, it's good news. Polarization and division. Yeah. Oh, that's good. I guess because it wasn't Trump. Yeah.
Well, I don't know what's wrong with this guy.
These guys are boobs.
I'd have to say at this point, yes. And so now here's Shields, who makes less sense than the other guy, and he's ends up saying, Biden, and I think that Biden's the way to finish.
But I think this is a critically important election because just think if Franklin Roosevelt had not been reelected in 1936, the whole definition of the presidency, the leader as this optimistic, rallying figure, inspiring figure, would never have come really to being into American life.
Okay,
Roosevelt
stop the clip. Stop the clip.
Clip is stopped.
I have to admit, he goes on and on about how Roosevelt is an inspiring figure and positive attitudes about everything. And he doesn't, obviously he's never even watched one Trump hour presentation. Trump is a very positive guy. But they condemn him for that because he said, these things aren't as bad as they look. He's been a very positive guy all through the COVID thing. He's been thinking, don't worry about it. You're not going to kill you. But no. As far as they're concerned, all he does is he's a negative, horrible negative force. and he's expressing this here. Meanwhile, extolling the virtues of Roosevelt. But okay, I thought there was a point.
All right.
If you're not, this way you can hear it.
I'll start it over.
But I think this is a critically important election because just think if Franklin Roosevelt had not been reelected in 1936, the whole definition of the presidency, the leader as this optimistic, rallying figure, inspiring figure, would never have come really to being into American life. Roosevelt became the standard. If Donald Trump is reelected in 2020, it will redefine the presidency and what Americans expect of the president and of each other. I don't think he will be. I think Joe Biden will be elected next Tuesday, and for a whole host of reasons that America, especially at a time of this coronavirus, we're looking for a we president, and Donald Trump has been a me president. He's been quite incapable of addressing that, stepping up to it. He's been on the river denial as far as the crisis itself is concerned, telling us sort of in a Pollyannish tones that it's going to be better, or it's already better. We just don't see that it's better. And I really think that the Americans are looking for a different kind of leadership, decidedly different leadership. And I think Joe Biden.
No, we're looking for a different kind of commentators on political television. That's what we're looking for, Shields. You're out. Brooks, you're out.
On his Biden.
No, I didn't. It was cut off, actually, if you'll know. Here, listen to it.
Are looking for a different kind of leadership, decidedly different leadership. And I think Joe Biden.
Okay, it's barely in there. But you kind of told us that.
Yes, I did. But again, yes, you're right. I think you nailed it. We were looking for better commentators. These commentators are useless. They don't tell anybody. They give us no perspective whatsoever. No, it's just the same old M5M perspective. And he says, he said, we need a guy like Roosevelt who's always uplifting, and we don't need a me president. Then he calls him a Pollyanna, which is a positive person.
It's the end of an era, John. It has to be the end of an era. This is all going away. We will witness it. People are no longer subscribing to cable. They don't care. The ratings show it. People are not interested anymore. They just want YouTube. That's all it is. YouTube and TikTok. And then once in a while they'll listen to a podcast. That's what it is. Sunday, we will deconstruct whatever comes our way, and I'm sure it will be quite some stuff, as updates will be flowing fast and furious throughout the weekend. Keep you glued to that set. Keep those commercials coming. And all we ask for is that you send whatever value you derived from this program back to us. You can do it in time, talent, and treasure. Treasure is necessary because we do need to keep the exit strategy at bay. So remember us at Dvorak.org/NA, coming to you from Opportunity Zone 33 here in the capital of the Drone Star State, Austin, Texas. FEMA region number 6 on the governmental maps. And coming up after this on NoAgendaStream.com, MoFax with Adam Curry, episode 53, titled 2020 Vision. Until Sunday, everybody, in the morning, I'm Adam Curry.
And from northern Silicon Valley, where there's nothing going on except the trains are rolling, there's a pipeline going by. I'm John C. Dvorak.
We'll be back on Sunday. Join us here. And remember us at Dvorak.org/NA. Until then, adios, mofos! And such.
Why is it blue, not red? Well, because he's still ahead. Because he's still ahead.
He is the apparent winner in Wisconsin. We're using the word apparent because the race there is exceedingly close.
Most of the people live here and here and here.
We never say 100 for that when we do apparent, because what we're saying is we think this is all the vote there is. But we don't know for sure. We don't know if there's another error.
So that next 4-hour update is not going to be the final. That's going to be the next wave.
We don't think so. They warned us and said it's quite possible and, in fact, likely that they won't get through all of the ballots tonight.
The outcome of our presidential election was seized from the hands of voters, where, of course, it went too long, and now resides in the control of lawyers, courts, and highly partisan, clearly corrupt big city bureaucrats. So we know he's agitated. We'll have to see.
What's the end game then? Why pursue the strategy of recounts if you don't think it's going to move the needle and take you across the finish line?
Saying, what can you do? Can you fix the count? I don't mean fix in an illegal way. Is there a way that things can change right there?
They did unveil the Biden transition website, buildbackbetter.com. There's not a lot there right now.
Phil, you're too young, but that song from Ecstasy, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, Senses Working Overtime, is exactly where we are in looking at these states.
I kind of want to walk you through exactly some of the stuff we've seen happening in the last couple hours or so.
They've already said we want to recount here. We know that they're looking here, and we know that they have their eyes out here and out here.
And disinformation on the electoral process, they're flooded online outlets.
Georgia's going to be the difference between the White House and the outhouse for Donald Trump.
It's not out of the question that Joe Biden could indeed hit that target and overtake Donald Trump, but we have to count these 800,000 votes. It's a lot of votes.
Take a look at this now. He's 33,300 votes ahead of Biden.
In Georgia, the president is ahead by 33,300.
We're done.
Millions and millions of people voted for us tonight. We were getting ready for a big celebration.
House Democrats are asking themselves one question after Tuesday's election stunner: what the hell happened?
Time to say, Nancy Pelosi, I love you, but you are not right for the times.
And what I'm looking for from John Durham is not a fancy report. I want to see indictments like we've already seen with Klein Smith and a guilty plea. I'm ready for him to put the people who are behind going after our president, trying to take him down as a candidate and as a president, be brought to justice and put in jail.
Governor Kate Brown activating the National Guard as part of the Unified Command, a riot declared
fired earlier tonight during protests in downtown Portland.
I don't care about politics. I don't care who the president is. If you do, you haven't lived your life right.
$86,000 a month, no experience, working for some foreign government while your dad's the vice president of the United States.
If Donald Trump had liked one of your tweets with a picture of your cat, you might have gone, well, he doesn't seem so bad.
Hunter Biden was making more than 5 times more than a board member for ExxonMobil.
Democracy is a flawed theory, and maybe a dictator is what you need. Because a dictator doesn't need to be a bad guy. I dictate we all have a great time.
The best podcast in the universe.
Adios, mofo.
Dvorak.org/NA.